Guys, I'm starting to come down with the coronavirus. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, what the heck is on this bread?
Coronavirus.
Oh, is that the coronavirus? What is it actually called?
I actually don't know. I can look it up if you give me 5 seconds.
You're going to learn real quick.
Yeah, give me 1 second. We've been reading about it, me and a couple of my friends, and it's
You know what? I have actively, just like the disease itself, I've stayed away from the news about it. Because I've lived through the pig flu.
SARS.
I lived through N1, A1. I lived through the ACDC virus. All this stuff that they announce and they're like, it's the end of the world. You know what? These doctors are smart people. Hey, update. Doctors are smart.
I work from home now, and so I feel like that could benefit me or really hurt me on
But
this.
aren't you flying?
Because I'm not near as many people. I am flying quite a bit too. I'm not as near people, so I feel like that might help me, but it also could hurt me because my immune system could not be prepared.
You're kind of like stationed away.
Coronavirus.
Oh, coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
So, put all of your coronas away. Oh man. I used to like those, but
it's always funny because, unfortunately, it starts in the most populated area in China, and I think that's where SARS started as well, and it just makes its way out because a lot of people travel in China, and then China has to shut down their entire the whole thing is shut down right now.
If there's anything in life I'm absolutely ignorant about, it's diseases and the way that they start. It's magic to me. I don't know how they start. My wife studies public health. Do you guys know? Maybe I should ask her. How do diseases start?
Just play The Last of Us.
So stupid.
That's kind of.
But I understand how they spread. How do they start?
So,
what makes a disease?
Somebody had sex with a monkey.
Occur.
Isn't that what happened?
Oh my God.
That's what they always say. When I was in school, every disease that would come up, we learned about. I was like, did someone have sex with a monkey? That was always the go-to thing, and even the teacher.
Why was that?
That was always the thing of somebody.
Where did that come from?
For every single disease, I've always heard that.
I've never once have heard that.
Really? You've never
Not
heard that?
once.
I've always heard that.
Gosh, I never thought about anyone having sex with a monkey.
Yeah, I think that was... And then when the plague, somebody did it with a rat.
Oh,
Welcome.
man. I could talk about plague stuff right now.
Yeah, we could. We have a lot of...
Been playing some games.
We have some tales about plagues. And
this is a gaming channel?
You have nothing to fear. Watching the DweeBros podcast.
You won't get sick.
There's no way you will get the coronavirus or corona from us tonight.
But this is a video game podcast.
And the movies. And the TV shows.
But we're going to talk about video games. Can I dive right in with a game about a plague?
Go for it.
You're not even going to believe me. It's a game called A Plague Tale.
Do they talk coronavirus in
They speak Chinese.
Is it that?
Hold on. Is it the game where you have a bunch of mice and you're running away from the mice?
Yes.
I think I've seen it.
I started playing a game called A Plague Tale.
That was on I had a list. If you remember, it was on the Game Awards thing, and I didn't get to any of those games.
The mistake you made is you made a really long list.
I made 4 games.
That's a long list. When you're talking about trying to catch up at the end of the year, that's long. I narrowed it down. I thought about Disco Elysium. I thought about Control. But I was like, what are the games?
You played one.
I got 2. I ended up getting into 2. I was like, what are the games I can get for under $20 that I feel like there's something unique about them? So there's this game, A Plague Tale: Innocence. It won an award, I think, for indie debut, or maybe got nominated. This game is a third-person. I'd call it kind of like a narrative action stealth kind of title. I would compare it to no. Not at all. I would compare it, like in Uncharted and The Last of Us, where there's sequences where you're kind of stealthing around, or you're running through the streets and people are chasing you, and you got to kind of follow where you think you need to go, based on hints and based on really quick making decisions. Uncharted always had that thing where you would run on the rooftops and you didn't really know where you were going, but they scripted it so well that you didn't get stuck and you kind of figured it out as you ran. So far, this game is a lot like that. You play as a 14 or 15-year-old girl, and she is the daughter of a couple kind of noble type people. Mm-hmm. And the game, it's called a movie because it's very cinematic. It starts and you're in the woods with your dad, and very quickly you start to realize that there is a really bad plague rapidly spreading through the world, and there's some very violent people that are coming through also. And so
double whammy.
Exactly. So things happen, and it's just the daughter and the little brother all on their own. And so from there, it reminds me a little bit of like The Last of Us when you're Joel and you're going around with Ellie. But basically, you're making your way through it's like 14th century, so it's like castles and, and it's just got beautiful color. It's got beautiful graphics. It controls well. You have a slingshot. And I was surprised when I first started looking at the game. I was like, are you really just going to crawl around with this little boy the whole time? And like, what else is there going to be gameplay wise? You get a slingshot. You can kind of upgrade the slingshot. I actually fought a boss. I'm only in chapter 2. I fought a boss. There was a guy with big armor and a big hammer, and he wanted to kill you because he thought that you brought the plague into his town. So, you're like this little girl and like this guy with a giant hammer, and it does the Tomb Raider thing where like if you get hit, this girl just gets freaking whacked and it's like, oh, and then it's game over, right? But basically like you use the slingshot to knock his armor off. There's certain points you got to hit. It's really well designed so far. I really like the story and the tone. And the thing about this game, and I've seen it in clips, I haven't gotten to this part yet. The thing that sets this game apart, the thing that I saw clips of this and I was like, I want to play this game, is there are these rats. And as you start to move through the world,
around you, don't they?
You go in these dark areas and these like floods of rats that each have like their own AI or like all over the place. And there's like tens of thousands of them, and they will eat you if you walk in.
Run?
Well, that's what it's ran fine for me so far, but it looks amazing. And then you use your light to kind of like shine, if you ever seen like Last Crusade, like Indiana Jones, like where all the rats are down in the tunnels, it's kind of like that. And
so do you like it?
Yeah, I like it. It's good. I think it's really impressive. It was a small team, and it looks fantastic. So far, it's really well written. Both of the characters are written really like the little boy is not like, I don't know, he doesn't have like the God of War thing where like he's just a little brat. You know what I mean? I feel like little boys in games are always like little crap holes, and you're just like, oh my god, this kid is complaining all the time. This kid's not really like that. He's very soft spoken and shy, and there's people trying to murder him.
He's dealing with the plague just fine.
He's dealing with the plague.
He's like,
yeah.
Everyone's trying to kill me, and the rats are too.
And I really like the girl. The main girl is really well written so far. So I'm not too far into it, but it's immediately one that's impressed me, and I like it. A Plague Tale, Innocence.
Not so innocent.
I mean, they are. They're little kids.
No, but the rats aren't.
Well, the rats aren't doing anything wrong.
Well, no, that's how the plague
They're
started.
Not so innocent.
No, that's how the plague started. Someone had sex with a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think in the prologue,
started a plague.
The boy has sex with a rat, and I thought that was kind of crazy.
That is weird.
But
you know what? It makes sense. That's how the plague started.
That's what I heard on Wikipedia. Do you remember in school? Side note. And I hated this out the gate in high school. They were like, "Can't use Wikipedia as a source."
Yeah, you can.
So you know what I did? I looked and went, "Nah, this is really good." And all I did was I would find books on the shelf.
Yep.
And test the sources to the books. I would find that, so I used Wikipedia a ton in high school when they were like, when it first was like, it was becoming really good.
Wikipedia is excellent. I think it was born out of like that early phase of the internet. Yeah. The internet was so like radical and so untrustworthy that I don't think that when they were telling us they really knew how reliable it was.
And I looked at it and went, nah, this is really good. It's so accessible. It's from this book.
Wikipedia it's one of the few things when they ask for money, I'll throw in $5 because I've used it so much my whole life, and if that thing ever went down, it would be a loss for humanity. Yeah. It's like the most amazing thing we've ever. It is the most amazing thing that we as humans. Have you ever seen that? They don't have money and they can't.
I haven't given them a dime.
I've given him maybe a collective $15 in the last
I'm hoping Bill
20
Gates
years.
Gets on there. He sees the big banner that pops up and says, "We're gonna die." And he says,
"But you know what makes it valuable? When we talk about not knowing truth, or there's no bias.
Yeah,
like." It is a good source of truth.
It's just straight facts.
Like, it just tells you what's going on and what happened.
It's also like it checks. They have people go on there and check things. So if you add something, you can add it for a short time.
Well, that was what teachers couldn't get through their dumb heads. Those dumb teachers. Shout out teachers, we actually love you. In high school, like they were saying, like, "Oh, it's not trustworthy, whatever," and it's like Wikipedia is just sourcing other stuff.
Yeah.
You can see the sources.
You can actually click through and see.
You can click through to where it goes.
Well, that's where when they said it wasn't a reliable source, you just go to Wikipedia and see what it links, and you click on that source.
And then you use that source for the research you were doing. Yeah. It's really stupid, honestly.
I hated when I knew there was a project coming out. It was like, you got to source everything. It's like, time to look at Wikipedia, pick up books off the library thing that have to do with the subject, and I would always fake source it. Did you guys ever do that? Like
put a source in there and say that it existed?
Say it came from something else. So I would find everything on Wikipedia.
Did they ever catch it?
No, did I ever do it?
Because
I'm sure I did.
Because
I don't remember
it was much
specifically.
easier to go on Wikipedia, and they wanted you to find a book source and wanted you to find this. It's like, you'll never check every individual source of.
Well, you know what?
Person.
You know what? That battle is lost. Like, my wife's in grad school.
Yeah.
You know what she's not doing? She's not opening any book. All of her stuff is online. Yeah. It links out to online articles, online resources. And like, nobody's buying books.
This is like around the time of 08, 07 stuff. When that was happening, I was just like, I was living in 2020. Yep. I said, I'm not cracking open a book. Miss Jones and me tell each other fairy tales. Yeah, but the Wikipedia
books.
Recommend. Check out Wikipedia.
There's a game.
Great game.
Have any,
Wikipedia is maybe the game of the decade. Last decade.
What is the website of the decade?
I can make a joke here, or I can be serious. Which one do you want?
This is a serious podcast. Let's go serious.
Okay. Pornhub.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's the most viewed.
I'm telling you right now, if we put dweebs on Pornhub, it would explode.
Oh, yeah. Maybe somebody would explode.
Oh gosh, no!
Like what'll happen?
Oh no!
Check the comments.
Oh no!
I can't deal with this. Video games. What else have you been playing?
Let's get back to video games.
What else have you been playing, Travis? Talk.
No, somebody else go. Okay. I already talked about one of mine. I like it when we go around. I don't like when one person talks for 30 minutes. I like hearing your thoughts. Go. I'll share more.
Okay, whatever.
Ring around.
Tell me about Kakarot, man.
Okay, so
I have questions.
Talk about Kakarot.
All right, DBZ Kakarot came out. I got it fresh off the hot press. It's Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. Here's my question.
Yes.
All right. I have never watched Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah.
So whenever you guys joke about Dragon Ball Z and you talk about the Frieza, there's enough, like it's like Star Wars. There's enough kind of cultural knowledge that, like, I know who Vegeta is, I know who Cell is, I know who Frieza, I know what they look like, I know they're strong. I don't know the story. I don't know the arcs. I don't know all the big fights.
Check this real quick.
So here's my question about Kakarot. As someone who doesn't know all that stuff, has never watched the show, but also doesn't see myself sitting down to watch a 300-episode anime like that anytime soon, is this game a good way for me to hop in, play it for 30 hours, and get the story of DBZ?
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Oh, wow.
You could sit here, at the end of the day...
It covers all the sagas?
It covers everything.
That's what I heard. It covers every saga.
It's exactly...
I haven't heard anything.
It's open world. It's an open world RPG.
They said you take DBZ Kai without all the filler and just throw it into a game.
It literally... They remake all the...
PS4, Steam,
They remake
Xbox.
all the scenes in cutscenes.
It looks great. Honestly,
and then you play the fights.
Can you bring this over for a hangout?
Yeah.
I will come over, yeah.
It's an RPG fighting game.
It came out this week.
RPG, adventure.
You literally fly around the world like Superman.
Yeah.
And then you can drive in cars. You can drive in...
They have the part where
you can drive first person and then you look over and it's the old man next to you.
It's honestly...
I'm saying it now, announcing hangout for this.
So this sounds like the way that maybe I will play DBZ.
Watch it.
Watch it, yeah.
I'm about 4 hours in. I just got it literally last week, and I was gone during the weekend, so I've had very little time playing it. But when I have played it, the combat's good. It's challenging, which is awesome. Like I don't feel like the fights would be easy in real life. So like make it challenging in the game, because normally in the type of games you smash one button the whole time.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
What is the combat? What would you compare it to?
Oh god, it's really fast, man.
Because you fly around, you like lock on.
Yeah.
Is it like the fighting games from Dragon Ball Z?
It's like the past ones. You guys have played. You'd probably be the only one that played
Budokai?
it. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 or 2.
One of them. Yeah.
You're in the weeds for me. I don't.
It's not like Budokai, because Budokai 1, 2, and 3 were side-scrolling fighters. This is 3D, open 3D fighting. But the combat's really good. It lets you, again, completely customizable. It has skill trees for each person. You get to level up each character in DBZ.
How many characters do you play as?
All of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm right now. I've been Piccolo, I've been Kid Gohan, I've been Goku.
Did this review well? Did other people like it?
It was like 7 or 8 out of 10 mostly, and it seemed like people who were big fans of DBZ were like, "It's Dragon Ball Z," and that was why I was wondering for me, is it good? And then I saw some people saying, "I don't know anything about this, but I'm having fun."
Yeah, it's Dragon Ball Z. Bandai makes a good game, so I can't like sit there and knock them. At the end of the day, it's exactly that. The reviews are right. The people are ticked because they're like, we wanted something more, and I'm like, dude, it's Dragon Ball Z. Like,
to me, it's been
the same since the 80s.
This is about the best thing they could make, so I'm going to check it out.
And for you get no filler. You get nothing but the story.
Nice.
Raw story.
Nice.
We fixed Dragon Ball Z.
Maybe they'll do it
even as a kid. As a kid, your tastes are like you're able to go through stuff. As a kid, I'm like, it gets to a good part, and it's like if it says next week on Dragon Ball Z.
See, and that's why this is way more appealing to me than watching the show. Yeah, so I'm 26 years old. I'm not going to sit here and watch them power up for 4 episodes.
Yeah, it was
no, I mean, there's certain moments that hit you less because, you know...
Yeah.
You didn't wait 30 episodes to get to it.
Yeah.
But that's like some books... I'd rather watch the hour movie than read the whole book. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. There's different strokes for different folks. That's all I can really say.
Okay, so Kakarot...
We'll bring it over for a hangout. We'll knock it out, and you guys tell me what you think from there. For someone never watching it before, you still need to finish Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
But how far along are you in that?
I watched the first 15 episodes of Dragon Ball, and I had fun, and then I didn't keep up with it, so I need to get back to it. I liked the beginning of Dragon Ball. I've always liked Dragon Ball. I watched it a little bit as a kid. It's so funny because
you'll see Goku, and it's just like... this truly a curious little kid who's from space.
I like it when he's a kid. I think it's cool.
Yeah, he walks up and smacks Bulma.
It's funny. It's really funny.
It's just funny. Like it's hysterical.
Okay, so speaking of hangouts, you did a couple hangouts, and
we'll go.
I want to ask about one of them first because you sent a text message to our group where you called Shenmue III the worst game of the generation or the year?
I was speaking. I was probably hyperbole there, but
and then I tried to text and ask, "Is it really that bad?" But I actually wrote, "Is Shenmue really that?"
In our group chat, he said, "Is Shenmue really bad?" And I just wrote back, "Nobody said anything for a while." And I was like, "Anybody catch that?" And I was like, "Yeah, the killer well."
He sucks. One of the worst.
We'll talk about Shenmue first. So. I loved that I brought an unsuspecting victim to this. The reason I really want to do this hangout is our good friend Devin came over and he was just hanging out or whatever one day, and I was like, "Hey, I'm playing. You want to check out Shenmue for a little bit?" And I showed him. He had the same experience with me, laughing within 2 minutes, like belly laughs, because the game. You're just like, why did they do that? It is that is the whole game. Is why did they choose? Why was that the choice they made? Or like, why are we doing this? Or am I really wasting my time playing this? So, the thing that Devin saw was this game. If to get money, you have to work in the game, or you have to gamble or whatever to get money.
So it's life.
Well, I came out of this hotel and I'm broke most of the time. I don't have to keep a lot of money on Ryu is the main character. Come out of the apartment or the. I'm in the second world. There's a hotel. I come out and there's the front desk clerk, and she's like, "Gotta pay your dues for the night." She has curlers in her hair. Awesome character design. And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have the money." And she's like, "Better go work." And it transitions you to cutting logs. And so that was what Devin saw was. It's like a mini game. He goes like this, and you have to press the button right where the log is under you. And he was like, "Is this real?" And he just could not stop laughing. He's like, "I cannot believe this." So, my friend John, you've seen John. He's been on a lot of hangouts. I invited him. I was like, "Hey, you want to check out this game, Shenmue and stuff?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there tonight or whatever." He came over, and I showed him, and he was just like, "Yeah, is this what we're doing or whatever?" So like, he couldn't.
Did they make the game like that on purpose, do you think?
I think that the original Shenmue had a charm to it. It has a cult audience that knows that, and Shenmue 3 for that, as much as I make fun and say it's bad in a lot of ways, it hit that perfectly.
Yeah. It reminds me of
that. It hit the original like feel of Shenmue.
And this stuff reminds me of like Devil's Premonition, and what's the other one?
Devil's Third.
No, yeah. So wait, there's Deadly Premonition. What's the other one that guy made?
Oh, D4.
D4. Yeah. Some of the stuff you're describing reminds me of D4. Yeah. Just like the dumb mini games and the.
I think they have to be in on the joke, and that's what we kept seeing. Like, You go to someone, you're like, you need to get a VIP pass. You go over here. To get the VIP pass, you got to talk to somebody that has a VIP pass, and then you're walking everywhere. One thing I like about this game, legitimately gave it praise for, because no other game's doing it this generation, when you have to go somewhere, it's like, hey, go to this place, it's on Blossom Road, you have to ask people, and you can find, there's not a pointer on a map.
They give you directions.
You have to look up at the signs.
Yep.
Okay, I'm on this road.
I wish more games were that way.
So you would like that.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing else.
Yeah.
But the dialogue is funny. We had a good time. And then if you check out the Hangout, we end the Hangout because Ryo in the game helps somebody. He stops a crime. He helps this lady get her purse back. And I asked John out of the blue, I was like, hey, have you ever stopped a crime? And then I laughed and I was like, how funny that I asked you that, because yes, you did, and you helped me. So check out that story. He helped me with a crime against me. John did. So I end the Hangout that way.
Oh my gosh.
The other Hangout we did was me and Devin came over because, and you got to check out the Hangout. He is the world.
I need to watch this.
Speed record runner, whatever.
Does he have the world record?
Yes, world record speed runner. Devin, our friend Devin.
How fast is he beating that game?
Game Master's by 15 minutes.
Wow.
The whole game.
Did he do it on the Hangout?
Here's what happened. So I was excited for the stream. He's like, yeah, we're going to give you whatever. I had to play this because we had problems on our last Hangout using the computer, so we used my wife's laptop. My wife's laptop, for some reason, couldn't handle the 16-bit game, and it lagged. And he's never played it with a controller before.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I gave him almost like a new category, laggy laptop with a
Oh
controller.
wow.
And some of the tricks he was trying, he kept messing up, and I was just like, you're the real world speeder.
Oh,
I
no.
gave him the worst setup to do this, but we beat it on the stream. So
That's awesome.
Still beat the game on the stream.
Nice.
And then I got to play it. He wanted me to play it and just experience it for the first time. And
Yeah.
awesome aesthetics. They nailed it, like 8-bit, 16-bit. Like
I heard it was super hard.
we played on the original.
I think I own it actually. I just need to test it out.
It's really cool. The game is you're trying to keep away from guards, and it's like muscle memory of like only a couple buttons you have to remember. Like this will cloak you, but when you're cloaked, you move slower, and you have to like go through these platforms.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like that, and I had a really fun time. So
That's awesome.
Matches Spy, really good, and very fun at the World Spectrum.
Real fast, Jacob and I have 2 live games that we're always talking about. And I just want to get mine out of the way. So you guys remember closing out last year.
30 seconds each.
Okay, here's what I got to say. Last year I said I'm not talking about Destiny 2 anymore. I'm almost not talking about Destiny 2 anymore. I got one thing to say. I got all the achievements effective yesterday on Steam and PS4. I got the last one. So I have beat.
The Academy likes to recognize.
Travis
McCoy, ladies and gentlemen, for platinuming.
How many hours?
Destiny 2.
I put 108 since it came out on Steam, and prior to that I had done like 400, so a lot. So I've become legend. You know what's crazy? I have none of the stuff from the past 2 seasons. I have not it's a game that you can't keep up with. You genuinely can't. So
was it worth it?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, but that's all I got to say about it. But I just wanted to get that.
Okay.
I got all the trophies.
I never promised that I wasn't going to talk about this game again, but I guess I had to. Dead by Daylight had a update come out, and it fundamentally broke the most crippling perk in the game. Wow. Hex Ruin.
It broke the broken thing?
Well, it didn't break, but it said it fixed it, but now it's broken it. It caused bigger problems than what they realized.
Wow.
All it did was Hex Ruin was a perk that allowed you to slow down the game. And the way to slow down the game was when you do generators.
Did the game already lag enough?
No, slow down the gens being done in the game.
Yeah, we just need more.
What happened was these little skill checks.
This Hex Ruin thing is the reason I stopped playing.
He stopped playing because
I stopped playing because of it.
When you get to a certain
because you would load into if you don't play, you gotta unpackage it. When and this won't cut in your 30 seconds. You'll have your 30 seconds.
He's timed out.
When you get into Dead by Daylight, there's 4 survivors,
you have 30 seconds.
And there's a killer. Okay, and then you go activate generators to get out. When you load into a game where the killer has used the Hex Ruin perk, it's just a perk they equip. You can't work on any generators.
You can.
You really can't until you find 2 little hexes or a little hex.
One hex.
Little hex. It's a little candle that's hidden and you have no idea where it is. So it basically creates a giant delay of nobody can do the thing you're all there to do until you play scavenger hunt while the guy's still trying to kill you.
All right, rebuttal.
Rebuttal. You get good at skill checks. That's what it is.
Oh, get the F out of here.
I'm just saying, like
that is. Listen.
Or you get tap.
Jacob, when a perk that somebody equips adds an entire phase that you might not even get past to the multiplayer mode, that's effed.
No, it's not.
Jacob, it's adding an entire phase.
I can tell you, out of the 150 hours I've played, I've escaped against Hex Ruin.
I'm not saying you can't escape. I'm saying it's way too powerful to be a perk. It should be its own damn mode.
No!
Hex mode and generator mode.
Just hit the space button at the right time.
Listen, I'm going to help you, Dead by Daylight. Listen, have generator mode where you go, and then have hex mode where there are no generators, but you can't escape until you find 3 hexes.
That's stupid. I'd find them quick. I know.
No, you wouldn't.
Because learn the maps. You know where the totems spawn.
This game is awful.
Oh my god!
This game is terrible.
No, it's not.
It's banned from the further podcast.
Nah, frick you guys. You guys don't know what fun is.
So they got rid of it, and it's still messed up.
They just changed it. So now, instead of you getting hard skill checks, you get the same normal skill checks. But instead, if you get pushed off a gen, the gen automatically starts digressing.
So it basically rots the generators.
Yes. As long as they're not being worked on.
That's a much better effect.
But it's still a hex, so I can still break the totem and get rid of the effect.
That's actually great. That's perfect.
No, it's not. Because now there's other perks that get perked up with it, and it makes it near impossible to do gens now.
It was already impossible, so I don't know what to say.
This kind of goes with my whole... Going into 2020, I have a whole new outlook on life. New year, new me. I'm not updating anything. I'm not updating anything. At all. I will give it one pass if it is a whole number update. So the next iOS thing, when they got a whole number update, I'll update to that. But iOS 13.1.2.3, don't need it. Not getting it.
So what about
not getting it.
When PlayStation comes out with an update and you can't get online until you update it?
If I am stuck and I have to get that update, then I'll get online. But as far as
wow, it sounds like a real strong commitment.
You're really putting a hard line.
If I'm playing online, but most of the stuff
Zach has drawn a line in the sand.
Most of the stuff I play
he will not do it unless he kind of has to.
Netflix has an update.
You don't.
Netflix updates in the background.
Oh, exactly.
But listen,
you know what? Do this. Let's see how it works out.
I am going strong already. I turned off updates on everything. I'm not doing it anymore because
you know what you don't have to update? Stadia.
Yeah, that's not going to get updated. Here's the thing: every time I update, things get worse. Dead by Daylight, I wish there was a version, and then like Overwatch is a whole different game. Like just play. Just give me the original. I don't know. You know what? Maybe that's the old me.
Old man yells at cloud is the title of this section.
But you know what? Every time, it's not an enjoyable experience for me anymore.
Okay, I got it. You ready? Yeah. Master Spy was too hard when they released it.
They should have left it.
And they updated it, and they added a mode for people like you.
There we go.
No, here's the thing. They should have just left it and said, we're not doing anything. And no updates. You don't get any updates. So I'm going to 2020. I'll update you at December's podcast.
Wait, so there's no updates?
I will give whole number updates. I'm talking about mini updates, like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, everything trying to update. Windows is getting shut the frick down. I'm keeping the current Windows 10 until Windows 11 comes out.
Or 12. I have a serious question. Don't you have
It'll be Windows Series X.
Don't you have CarPlay? Don't they do updates to CarPlay? Oh, you don't have CarPlay?
No.
You know what? Windows, I have it now. Windows is Windows 10. The next Windows will be Windows X.
Yeah.
Which is 10.
We never really talked about it in detail. I put something on Twitter, but that's a stupid name.
It's a dumb name.
It's bad. Because even when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's another update to 360. I was already in Wii U mindset of like, oh, this is another Wii. This is another Xbox One.
The problem also
just get away from X.
The problem is Phil Spencer. They asked him before they said what the name was going to be. What's the naming philosophy? Like PlayStation's very clear: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. He said that the philosophy is and will continue to be that it'll be Xbox with a word or a number or whatever after it that signifies the theme. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I get it. Like Xbox was Xbox 360, they wanted to be the center of everything you do. Xbox One, they wanted to be the one thing everything goes to. I was like, well, those are kind of the same thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Xbox Series X, what does that mean? Series X.
Yeah. It's so far ahead that
it looks like a good box.
It means nothing, and they are running into trouble with people that think, because I think for a little bit the Xbox One X and the Series X is going to be on the same retail shelves. Good luck, kids. Good luck.
Tell your parents.
You're getting a Stadia.
Yeah, tell your parents. I want an Xbox X. They're gonna come home with Xbox One X.
Ooh.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted the X.
Yeah. No. I think even you just misspoke it already. You know what I mean? Like,
well, did I?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So it's like it's already gonna be a nightmare. So.
Hey, Stadia might actually make it, man.
Yeah. At least you know what that is.
All right.
Listen, it was coded Scarlet. It was coded Scarlet.
Yep.
Just call it Xbox.
Yep.
I would have known.
All right. Let me talk about something that has nothing to do with Xbox real fast.
Okay.
Death Stranding. It's not on Xbox.
Yeah.
I finished it.
You finished it now.
It was really good.
That's it.
Next subject.
And then I have one more game.
Okay.
I have nothing else to really say. It was good. I feel like we said everything we needed to say last year. Maybe we'll probably do a review at some point.
We'll
but where are you at on it?
I'd be in.
To me, it is just kind of odd. When I anticipate something a lot, it's odd, like when you don't know what it is, and then you learn really quickly and you play through it. And now it's like, well, life is now. I played Death Stranding.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, that's a game in my past now, not a game like I don't know what it is. And I'm looking. It's just weird how fast that switch flips, you know? But yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
All of that. And it was good. It was really good.
I will say, coming off Metal Gear Solid 5, those feelings, like I played it for 150 hours.
Yeah.
So much fun stuff to do. This I beat and I put it away.
I beat it and I put it away.
And moved on.
Yeah, I
didn't have to say.
I put 40 hours and there was no part of me that felt like going back and doing.
To me, it was a very.
It was an all-encompassing experience. I liked it a lot.
I would equate it to a smaller version of those games in which I put it away. It's like that was a cool experience and kind of moved on, like a smaller after taste of it.
Yep. And then my last game I wanted to talk about is a game called Baba Is You.
Yeah, you told me.
Baba Is You.
Are you drunk?
No, it's called Baba Is You.
Is that a puzzle game?
Let me tell you about Baba Is You.
You as Baba?
Yes. So Baba Is You is a game. It's kind of like top down. It's just like a flat screen.
Okay.
And you're like a little sheep.
Okay.
Well, let me put it this way: when you open up the game,
liking this, where this is going.
When you open up the game, it's like a black screen, and there will be a level, and the level will be like some trees or like a door and like a brick wall, but there's words, right? And everything's kind of like a grid. You don't see the lines, but it's like you can move things left, right, forward, whatever. So like it starts out and like there's a sheep, and you can control the sheep, and then you'll see up here it'll say like Baba. Like together, as a block, and then you'll see is, and then like a thing that says you, and so you're the sheep, so sheep's boss, so you can move around. If you go up here and you move the word Baba off of is you can't do anything because Baba isn't you anymore.
Oh, so that's the whole puzzle.
So like you can move door into door is you, and then you can move the door.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like the game is like you're trying to get whatever is when.
Yeah.
So like they layer in mechanics as far as like there was one where like you can only move one of the things because there were walls blocking it, but it was like roses are red, violets are blue, something is something, and Baba is you, and they were like together.
Yeah.
And there were like roses all over the place, and so like the way I had to solve it was I had to move a couple things and then move roses are you, and then I controlled all the roses on the map and moved them to where one of them touched the wind thing. So it is a fascinating game. It is the most bare bones graphics you can get. It is really cool the way like you can mess around with the mechanics and figure it out. But what I will say is it is one of those games where if you step away from it for like a week
you can't
and you come back, I traveled out of town. I played it. I put 4 hours in on a weekend. I just had so much fun. It was hard. This game will break you and make you feel so stupid. Then you walk away and come back an hour later and you figure it out. But I walked away from this game for like 10 days and I came back and I was like, I don't even know how to start this again. So the levels are broken up into worlds. So I think at that point you kind of have to start over at a world where to introduce kind of a new mechanic. But yeah, it's a good game, but it is a game that will make you feel very, very dumb and very, very smart all at the same time. So it's good.
Cool.
It's cool. Baba is you.
Nice. I only played one other game. Was going to do a hangout with it. Had some technical issues, but I still want to do it. It's Blood and Truth, VR game.
Ooh,
that's really
man.
the only thing outside the hangout, whatever.
Tell me about this. This looks awesome.
So it's from the same people who did London Heist, the PSVR game.
That's still one of the coolest
and I
VR.
Loved that, so I was like, I gotta check this out, and I saw some great reviews for it. People loved it, and it's that to the max. It's just more of that. There's more of a story involved. It's kind of just almost continues London Heist.
Yeah.
Not the same story, but it's kind of continuation. Cool thing about this is you get like a pistol and stuff. It has a sight. You can look down. Like you put your other controller near it, grabs the gun, and you can like kind of sight.
Of course.
And look down and kind of shoot. So I'm closing one eye and shooting and stuff. And but the big thing is you get like a machine gun and stuff. So to get the pistol, you put it back in your holster. Like everything's very tactile. So you put that back in there. You grab it. Also, it kind of reminded me of it touched baby levels of Half-Life, the new Alex or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like I'm grabbing my rifle back. You grab on your back and it pulls it out.
That's awesome.
How you put your gun away, and there's like feedback on the controller. It vibrates.
I gotta show you.
But I grabbed this out, and there are certain sequences like you're running, or like what it does is you just hit a button and it like moves in real time to where like you're trying to walk to. But then there's some sequences where it kind of goes on rails, and it is awesome. Like you're jumping out windows, and like then it slows down time, and there's like bad guys shooting you from the roof, and you're grabbing your rifle like boom, boom, boom,
wow,
like, rapidly shooting these people, and looking down here like freaking feel like Neo from freaking Matrix.
So it's good.
Oh yeah, I'm having an awesome time.
Using the Move controllers.
Yeah, the two Move controllers and stuff. I don't know if you can't even.
Did it track well?
Yeah, it tracks
playing it sitting down.
Yeah, I play it sitting down, and then the other thing you can do is like when you're climbing ladders, you have to physically climb the ladder. So you pull up, and then when you get in like ducts and stuff, and you're trying to sneak into like buildings, you have to move the thing, and you're like crawling through this duct and stuff. So just those little touches like that, it's like that's why I love VR. And stuff, and that's all I was about. So also another plus is I recently got contacts because I've always had glasses, and it always was not perfect having that. So now that I have contacts,
it's so much better.
I get to see it, but one thing I do get to see, I always gave it kind of like a slight pass. I knew the graphics needed to be better, but with contacts and now that it's up in my face, the field of view needs to be a little bit better. Before with my glasses, I already don't have a great field of view when you have glasses on, or I couldn't see
the PlayStation VR is showing its age.
Yes, with the contacts in, I went, wow, the field of view needs to go.
I guarantee you'll get an update when the PS5 comes out.
Oh yeah. So it's Blood and Truth is another that I would add to the PSVR's library you should get because it's freaking fun. It's a fun time.
It's awesome. I have been getting the itch to fire up my PSVR. I want to do Astrobot, and I bought Skyrim VR. I bought Skyrim during Christmas time. There was a sale, and I bought Skyrim VR and I bought Drive Club VR.
Yeah,
I heard Drive Club was actually pretty good.
And I was really I was wanting to dive into them, and I got Skyrim all set up, and then my friend came over, and I just let him play it for like an hour, and I just kind of watched. So I still haven't done it, but I've heard it's just a blast.
Astrobot was my favorite game last year that didn't come out last year. I played. Was definitely Astrobot. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
PSVR.
Speaking of VR, Blades and Sorcery is a VR game that came out for the PC, and essentially what it is the medieval fighting game.
Oh, I've seen this game.
Yeah, it's a medieval.
I wanted to play this.
I
didn't know it was VR.
It's completely VR. Oh. It is a joy. I mean, I remember when I booted this game up, and it's a hand-to-hand combat with swords and giant axes and shields, and then you have magical powers you can activate, like a mage. And then what it is, it's just a wave fighter. So you spawn waves of enemies, and you fight against different waves. you get a sense of urgency because you're fighting one guy behind you and you hear footsteps behind you and you have to turn around and slash.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. The modding community has completely taken over this game. Modding weapons in like, the Buster Blade, modding the stuff in like, daggers and the Infinity Blade, even the Thanos Gauntlet is in the game. Like that's how far it's went.
Wow.
Well, someone's created a mod called the Outer Rim, which is a complete Star Wars overhaul of the game.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Every Jedi lightsaber in the entire history of Star Wars.
Another experience.
Definitely an experience.
It completely changes this game. It's honestly like
I think I've seen GIFs of this and it looks very fun.
It is so awesome.
Yeah.
The newest update allows you now to have force powers, so I can like force choke people. I can bring them up to me and stab them.
I know what it was. Someone put the audio of when they kill the younglings and over top of like.
Oh my god!
He just told you my favorite part. Oh, okay. So check this out. I booted this game up. First thing I did is I grabbed a Kylo Ren saber and it's all crystallized and crackled, and I'm like holding it like. Oh, this is really a saber. And then I got Darth Maul's twin blade.
Dude, I need to come over and play this.
I'm telling you, man, it's so good. So anyways, I put behind me and I walked over to the book, and in the book is where you get your waves. And you can go against like clone troopers, you can go against all kinds of stuff. And I was like, Order 66. The Emperor has asked you, no, not Order 66.
Oh, there's a story thing?
Yeah. Order 66, that's the level. And you click on it and it said, the Emperor has asked you to do the unthinkable. And
I thought that somebody just put that audio and just...
No.
So that's a real thing.
So I was like, okay. So I hit start.
No.
These little younglings come out loading lightsabers. And I'm like, I gotta kill you. And I just start stabbing them and killing them. And I'm like, I'm Anakin.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was in the sand level too.
Bro, I need to come over and play this game. This sounds amazing.
It was like, you can force jump. It's the whole 9 yards. And so I was like...
Sounds like the best Star Wars game that they've put out recently.
It's the best Star Wars game they've put out.
Disney would be mortified if they knew you could murder younglings.
But I tell you what, man, the best part was like the detail in the lightsaber.
That was not Lucas's contract.
No, it was not.
Disney, do you think?
It's so awesome. The best part was the hilts of the lightsabers. So I was going through and I was collecting all the lightsabers and I was like looking at them like they have the Inquisitor lightsabers. So like second sister, fifth sister.
That's like amazing.
Yeah, and there's so much detail. They have people from the books in their lightsabers and the way they described them, and they made it.
Sounds like a real passion project.
Yeah, it really was. Then they did another update, and this is where I'm done after this. You know about the Dark Blade?
Yeah.
They added the Kyber crystal to create the Dark Blade, so you can take a lightsaber tool and take your favorite hilt.
This is beyond a mod.
Oh, it's a full on like expansion of the game, but it's a mod. So, anyways, I was messing around.
I want to check this out.
I smacked out the Kyber crystal out of the Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I put the dark black crystal in, and the black blade came out, and I was like, "This is so cool!"
Wow.
So I found myself doing a lot of like grabbing and then just stabbing.
Yeah.
It really lets me take a lot of my aggression.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
wow.
You guys,
I feel like Jacob has
You've
the most
sold...
fun playing video games.
Dude,
you play VR stuff.
You find the cool. You found the Yu-Gi-Oh VR.
Yeah,
dude, Yu-Gi-Oh VR is hey, I promise you'd hear me.
What are you doing, you?
All the time.
I'm fighting for my sister, Serenity.
Back when I lived with Travis, he'd be in the living room and he'd hear me say, "And I play the Dark Magician."
Yeah, I just hear him yelling.
like Pot of Greed.
It happens all the time, guys. I'm telling you, if I've learned anything, VR is like so much fun when you play.
I'm going to be joining you in the PC VR world.
I hope you do.
This year.
Hey, I want to throw out something. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'll bring it live in front of the camera. When Half-Life Alyx comes out, can we do a freaking big hangout? We just keep taking turns.
We can knock it out.
Yeah. I'm upgrading my graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be a live
I'm trying to decide. Help me decide which of the PC VRs I should get.
So here's where I'm at.
I've heard the Index is the one.
The Index is the one, but it's $1,000.
Ooh.
It's a tough post swap. I'm
breaking my camera.
It's tough, but I have the Oculus S.
Does the Index make you need cameras?
Yes.
I don't want to do cameras.
The Oculus S is the one that doesn't require cameras.
That's the one.
And it's only $399.
That's the one.
And for me, it's everything like... It's mind-blowing that the Oculus is so far ahead.
Oculus S?
Yeah, the Rift S. It's so far ahead.
$300?
$399. But you get the wireless controllers, you get the headband, you get the actual... and it's just 2 cords. You plug into the... It's just 2 cords. And
it's just too cool.
It just has full motion tracking, and the controllers itself have locomotion. That's the one. So behind you, in gyro, it can sense behind you, even though the sensors don't see it. It picks
I'm never doing cameras. I'm never putting. I'm never drilling. I am never drilling cameras into my walls.
I had the vibe.
Never. I'm never getting stands. I don't. I know.
It is so tough.
I'll do the camera for the PlayStation.
That's about as
because it sits on my TV and I don't have to think about it. I'm never putting the cameras.
If I had another room in my house, maybe I would make a VR room if I had the funds.
My room's you guys have you been? I don't think you've been. You guys haven't been to my house, have you?
No, I have not.
Man, what are we
doing?
Do
you have a VR room?
Yeah, it's my playroom, and it's just dedicated all to that.
That's awesome.
In the playroom, guys.
The Valve Index controllers. It tracks your whole. The only thing it benefits, it tracks your whole fingers.
That's really cool, but like,
so I can pick my nose.
Let me know when someone makes something that needs that. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds awesome.
Honestly,
F5 Alex.
You can do a lot of crazy stuff with it, but I think my next kicker right now. I've been watching. People have been making like leg trackers. So like my next thing is like waiting for the big jump when they get leg tracking, and I'm like, okay, I'm all in.
Kicking.
Yeah. So then when you look down, your legs are the legs?
Yes, and like you're moving your legs according to the game.
Guys, this thing is gonna, like, it's just gonna get nuts real fast, I think.
I'm waiting for the day they give me a vest where I get shot, I feel it. Like, that's when I know.
I feel like I've seen stuff like that and it like vibrates.
That's when I know. Because like I play Blade and Sorcery, and when I get
Guys,
hit,
this stuff's about to get nuts.
VR's the future. You all sleeping on it, but VR's the future.
I'm not sleeping on it. I got one.
I got PSVR.
I'm so excited for Half-Life Alyx. I think that thing's gonna blow it out of the water.
It's gonna be a good time.
Awesome. I love video games, man. This makes me want to play.
And you know what? It's a great time to be alive because PlayStation did the unthinkable.
Yeah, they did.
Dropped the PS5 logo.
Yeah, who was expecting that?
It looks the same.
And some people made fun and said it was funny. It was like, you know, there was a boardroom meeting that they spent 300 hours like, how should this look, you and ever. But I
think the opposite. I think they walked in like, we know what we're doing, right? Yeah, just change it to 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
This is easy. Like,
I put on there because there was a lot of funny memes and stuff and like about it. And I think even the first one they showed was a low resolution, even with the logo, and they had to get the bigger one. All that I put on Twitter. With all this Xbox Series X stuff and the Wii U and freaking...
It's a breath of fresh air.
I was just like... Yeah, just give us the name. You know what I mean? Like, it's just PS5. I know what to expect. It's going to be great. Cool. In a world of these goofy named consoles and devices...
Sony knows what they're doing. They're like, look...
Yeah, PS5.
PS5.
We're done.
Like, you guys are going to buy it. Like, we know we're good. Like,
you agree. You got the PlayStation shirt on.
I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah.
If me 10 years ago could see this, he'd be appalled. I was that kid watching G4 and they're doing E3 and Sony would do their conference.
You'd be booing.
I'd be seething with hatred.
Oh, well, that sucks.
It's changed a lot.
I didn't get the backlash. I think it's just people who are.
But now I can't even boo them at E3 because they're not at E3.
Oh yeah, they don't go to that anymore.
Yeah, so that's the other thing tied in. First year, it's like, okay, I get it. It's a slower year. And after seeing E3, it's like, maybe they made the right choice. Second year, it's like, start biting your fingernails because what's E3 to come? Because I was even seeing people, correct me if I'm wrong, Microsoft doesn't even have their conference there anymore. They have it at the Microsoft Theater.
Well, they have
a presence there. But
here's the thing. To have your to do a big keynote, not do a big keynote, do it across the street, not do it a week before. The keynote to me, I wish they would do a keynote, but it's fine. Whatever, we'll get it later. They do the keynotes and they still do.
They'll figure out.
What's weird to me is that they don't even have like a booth area.
Yeah.
Like, to me, this is when all of gaming, journalism, fans are all coming together.
Yeah.
They're all walking around playing demos. It's a time to get your games in front of people. To me, like, it does start to open up questions about, like, what is going on with E3? Like Xbox, whether they do their conference or not. Like, Nintendo for a long time didn't do a conference. They don't do a conference. They just do a direct. They still do the Treehouse. They do the other stuff.
The Treehouse is cool.
So, like, why? To me, it's almost like personal at that point. Like, we're not even going to put, like, what's that all about?
It's just Sony. It's come out, and there was stuff on Kotaku or whatever else was saying the vendors are split because there is a side that wants this just to be industry folks and very just like business oriented and whatever else, and that's for from when I was growing up as a kid, I kind of wanted to go to E3 when reading my gaming magazines. And then I looked into it as a kid, and it was like, no, it's only for industry invited stuff.
No, that's revisionist history. It's in the 80s or like late 80s, early 90s when it first started. It was industry, and it grew.
It started in 95.
I know, but it grew. It grew a lot. Back in like 2004, 2005, it was like it is now. Yeah. Tons of people. They cut it off in 2008, and they made it industry only.
Okay.
And then they did that for a while, and then people complained, and then it grew back to this point. Okay. It didn't start. I mean, it like grew a lot, and then they cut it back in the middle of the 2000s, and then it's grown a lot again.
Yeah, well, when I looked it up, it was like only industry thing, because my dad was like, "You want to go sometime?" And we kind of looked into it. And was like,
I know. I think we talked about it
because it exploded. It exploded in like 2004, 2005.
My thing has been what? So has any kind of reasoning came out?
Let me finish. So so some people want it to be an industry thing. Sony and others want it to be more, hey, invite gamers here and let it be a social kind of like community focused event kind of thing. And it seems like nobody's happy. Like either side is kind of not happy with the choices, and it from what the rumors are, Kotaku and all these other places are talking about. So I think for now we're kind of at a standstill, and I don't know what the future of E3
I guess as far as it goes, I mean, I kind of think it's. Maybe I just read into it. I think Sony just thought they were better than this, but maybe they're really not. I don't know. I always looked at EC as like, this is a celebration of what's to come. Like, what's to come.
Yeah.
Everyone's coming together. They're all here to talk about, like, here's the next year plan. Here's what we have going on. And Nintendo does something separate. You're right. They're still there, but they do something separate. I think Microsoft's like, they're probably doing a dance. They're like, we got E3 to ourselves.
Yeah,
like,
maybe so.
Yeah. It's all us again. Google Stadia might get a presence now.
Yeah.
You know?
They would have stage.
Yeah. Oh my god.
One person in the crowd. Woo! Now they'll be all watching at home, online.
Yeah, streaming it. The Stadia platforms.
Are they going to hear that?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's just a cut right there.
I just think...
All right.
I took directional control for a second.
No, it's fine.
I spliced it together.
Yeah, so Sony, what you're doing, I'd like to know more. I'd like to know why. Are you doing a presentation during that time? Are you doing something the week before, week after? Yeah. I know you guys do your normal events, but I still want you to do something. I want to know what exactly, especially this year, because we need to get PS5 like reveal. We need to get some time.
I think they're flexing their muscle. I just have a feeling they'll be back. I think they'll be back. It's
been.
To me, it's too big of a central gathering point to stay away from for too long.
Plus, the entire industry has their eyes on E3. Like, I get it. Like,
yeah. But I think like you said, they're flexing their muscles, and maybe they'll negotiate and they'll figure it out. They will figure it out somehow. Yeah. So, just like, hey, Sony's professional at negotiating. What earlier this year we thought the end of the world was? No more Spider-Man movies. And Sony said, I got this.
Yeah.
And just the same thing here.
It is eerily similar. It is eerily similar to that when they pulled.
They'll figure it out. So mark my words. The coronavirus, it's going to be killed.
Negotiate it out.
The E3 negotiations, it's going to be solved.
Can you
mark my words? Until we all die, and then people are looking at this podcast and go, "What a fool!"
I've been looking forward to your two's opinion about something.
Okay.
And it's because it's really been rubbing me a certain way, and I wanted to know what you guys thought. Everything I've been looking forward to is getting pushed back.
Yeah, but I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Really?
I'm happy.
I couldn't be more thrilled.
Because what we were facing before was the impossible.
What are the games that have been delayed? Recap them real fast.
Final Fantasy VII.
Where did that get delayed
Cyberpunk. That got delayed till...
Fourth quarter?
April.
Oh, no.
Okay.
What got delayed to fourth quarter?
Cyberpunk. That goes to September.
Yeah. That's their third quarter.
Final Fantasy VII got pushed back to April.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just waiting on... So they put out this nice, branded letter. Both of them did. It's like, it's got delayed. It was time to, ramp up the marketing if they were going to... It was do or die time. So they had to put...
And Last of Us got pushed too, right?
No. But I put in the chat, I said, now we're waiting for that. Time. It's going to be... I think that'll be delayed.
Here's why I'm thrilled. Cyberpunk, I'm going to need a new graphics card.
Yeah.
I want to wait until after June when the new ones come out. So it's just saved me some.
It was funny before Cyberpunk
having to buy something.
Final Fantasy VII was a week prior to Cyberpunk.
It
moved so quick and it was impossible.
It just was I feel like
but now we're spaced out pretty good. We're at April. Still, it's crazy. May is currently Last of Us 2. That'll be delayed, and then Cyberpunk in September. I think Cyberpunk even they were probably already planning it, but they saw that and was like.
I guess maybe I've been looking forward to Final Fantasy VII because I have yet to play Final Fantasy VII. I played 10 and I love 10 so much, and I'm like I've been itching like I want something.
But we waited so long. I could do another month, and I needed the games to be spaced out, or I was going to explode.
I get I still haven't found my appeal yet to Cyberpunk. It's one of those things I'm just like it looks like
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really gotten a hold of it yet, so it's not really interesting. I have been. I'm going to say something.
Uh-oh.
And it's not blasphemy.
A lot of controversial stuff tonight.
It's not blasphemy to anyone here.
Uh-oh.
I've just been curious.
Get ready to cut right here.
About Death Stranding a tad bit. Just a little bit. Just curious. I mean, like, do I want to look at it? Do I want to see what it's like?
You're a little Death Stranding curious.
Just a little Death Stranding.
You felt a little left out?
I'm just.
You've changed your tune since November.
I'm a little Death by Stranding curious. That's all.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's all it is. Like, just.
What's the impetus of why?
I've been watching, for some reason, YouTube has been giving me thumbnails about people playing the game.
Oh, okay.
I've never watched it before, and then I watched like a few minutes of it, and I was like, huh. And I was like, okay. I could try this, I guess. And then like
Welcome to the club.
So is
Kojima always gets you.
Yep.
You should just give in.
I don't want to get. Here's the thing. I don't have time for it. And I know I don't have time for it.
Now you do.
And I don't.
If you stop killing younglings, you'd have plenty of time.
It's so much fun. But the last thing I want to do is start something and I can't finish it, or start something I get really addicted to it and I can't do schoolwork because of it. So I'm trying to get myself in a spot where I'm actually working ahead in school to where I can just try it, and if I really, really like it, I just binge the crap out of it.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I look forward to...
If it makes you feel any better, I think that the best way to play Death Stranding is to play it in 6 or 7 big chunks. I don't think it's a game that's good to pick it up for 20 minutes, pick it up for 40 minutes.
When I first started playing, I was doing some of the side stuff. Skip all that.
Just do the main. Just do the main stuff. Do the main stuff. It's good enough. And just like on a Saturday when you don't have any homework the next day or do that night, play it for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then just do that once a week for like 2 months and you'll beat it.
Well, we'll see. I've been interested.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all.
Cool.
Doesn't matter done it.
It's a good game.
Let's turn the consoles off. Let's leave E3.
And let's gather around the family tube.
Yeah, the boob tube. People still laugh. They've never heard that term.
I just laugh. I still don't believe you when you say that.
It's true.
Why do they call it the boob tube?
Go on Google and type in boob.
Is it because they look like? Is it because like the old school TVs look like a boob?
I don't know. Type it in.
I never.
Turn safe search off and type in boob tube.
Here, I'll just do it right now.
Okay.
You're gonna pull up something.
Wow. No, we can't. Don't show. I'll have to pixelate this.
TV shows.
TV shows. So
TV shows.
I even when we were like going, like I was looking over, like what did I go through this month or whatever. The Witcher we didn't get to talk about.
We never talked about it. It came out while we were doing our decade stuff.
Yeah. So The Witcher.
The Witcher.
This was something. It got announced and it was like anything game. I know it was based on the books, but I was like, I don't have high hopes for this thing at all. I really didn't.
I think we're opposites on that. I immediately had a good feeling about it.
I was like. I even saw like the teaser trailer stuff, and I was like, "This thing."
The teasers didn't look good.
Wait, I was like, "This thing's gonna be a."
No, a boob tube means.
Are you still on the boob tube?
A woman's tight-fitting strapless top made of stretchy material, a tube top.
I don't know what he's looking at.
I'm kidding. That's the British version. The guy's a boob.
I just see 3 X's in a row.
A boob tube means television set. Wow, I cannot believe it.
All right, back to what we were talking about.
Sorry, I just.
The Witcher. So I went into this. Pretty low expectation. I was expecting an average time. I did not get an average time. I got an awesome time.
It's fantastic.
Amazing from beginning to end. I freaking loved it. To me, the strength of the Witcher games is that they had an amazing world and these characters you instantly love, and they have twists. You're like, oh, that guy's the bad guy, and blah, blah, blah. And you think, and then they twist it on you. And you go, there's the twist. It's so fun. It turns into a whole different story when you get into it.
It reminded me a little bit of the X-Files, where you've got like real specific little stories, and then they connect out sometimes to bigger like world stories.
And the way I saw it structured, Henry Cavill,
he's perfect as Geralt.
Perfection. One of the most perfectly casted in a while. Does an amazing job as Geralt. You can tell, and I think he has played the Witcher games.
Yeah, he's played all the games, and I've been playing The Witcher 3 a little bit the past couple days, and number one, I don't want to go too. going back to that game, there's just a ton of side quests, Witcher quests. I started doing some of these Witcher quests. Man, they're so good. Yeah. They're so good. But his Geralt is inspired by the game, like definitely. Yeah. But it is still his own. Like going back and playing like the Witcher games, like it's a different flavor. Like he kind of brings a different accent to it. Cause he uses a British accent. The Geralt in the game doesn't have that.
But the mannerisms are like one from one.
It feels like a younger version of that character.
And it's like so good watching him play. I was hooked from episode 1. The way he like portrayed the character. Also, the reason I love this is it's almost the way I play the game is how the show is. How weird that is, sounding. Yeah. I would play a main quest and I'd do some side quests and come back to main quest. That's what the freaking show is.
That's what it is.
The show is a main quest. It shows this overarching big thing, and then you do a side character. Yeah. It shows a side little thing that has nothing to do with the story. It's literally a side story in The Witcher.
Yep. And the themes I loved how they would tell very different things. Like Yennefer's going through this, Geralt's going through this, but the themes would speak to each other. Yeah. It was so, and when the books, like they would take something out of the second book Yennefer went through, something out of the first book Geralt went through, and tell it in the same episode. It's great, a great way to adapt it. And this solidified for me, because I played the games, I never read the books, but so when I got to The Witcher 3, it was weird because like. You were with Triss in The Witcher 1, you're with Triss in The Witcher 2, and then you get to The Witcher 3 and you can be with Triss or you can be with Yennefer. And it was like, all the people that read the books always loved Yennefer, but I mean, I liked Triss because that was who I knew, and I don't even remember what I ended up doing, but I always was like, why do people like this girl so much? Yeah. This show, like, she's 10 out of 10. Yeah. She is perfect. She's perfect. Like, I love her and Geralt's dynamic. If I ever play Witcher 3 again, which I'm playing it right now, I'll be all about Yennefer. Yeah. Way more than Triss. Triss is fine, but Yennefer is a great character.
I love it. Absolutely.
Don't you like the way they rolled out her character and they developed her? And
I did not expect that.
And the guy that plays Dandelion does a good job. Yeah. I was kind of worried about him at first. I was like, I don't know if he's good. It's kind of different, but he's good. And the girl that plays Ciri is also killer. Yeah. She's fantastic.
Everybody's casted and it's great.
One other thing about this show, and it's not comparison because they just did it differently. I remember there was the big controversy with CD Projekt Red because everybody was like, there's no like people of color in this game, right? And then they were like, well, it's just like not that setting. What I thought was cool is, and I think that makes sense why they did that. This show weaves in so many like people of color, but it doesn't feel forced. It's just like they're just naturally in the show of like constantly. Like there's a lot of black people on the show. There's like, and they just weave it all in seamlessly. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. Kind of a
good diverse cast.
It was good diverse, and it wasn't like token. It was just like integrated fully throughout.
Yeah, so it's awesome. So Witcher, go watch it.
If you haven't, I think, dude, we're gonna talk about another show here, and The Witcher, if you go on IMDb, you can get a good gauge for how much a show has got.
I saw this as like second to
you can get a good exposure to how many people. So like a show that's like a breakout hit will have like 50,000 reviews on IMDb. Yeah. A show that's like really popular will have like 100,000. Yeah. The Mandalorian, which we'll talk about in just a second because I think you put it on the list, has 120,000. This is a Star Wars show. Yeah. Witcher has 190,000 reviews.
Beat out Mandalorian on that stuff, but
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's freaking crazy. It deserves it. They already greenlit the season 2. We were making fun of it before.
I made fun of that because they greenlit it.
Because we never know.
They knew something we didn't. Yeah. I mean, I'm all about it.
Yeah. So and also going on my Facebook feed, like some of these people I went to high school with or whatever, like. Just watch The Witcher, it was great. People that had no exposure to the games.
Yeah, my friend Sam, he never played the games, and he watched the show, he loved it, and I was like, you gonna play the games now? He's like, yeah, I think I will, but I love the show. And I was like, dude, play the freaking games. You already watched the show now, like, why would you not? And then, but it is weird because my wife is coming in while I'm playing The Witcher 3 and like Ciri's on the screen. I'm like, don't look. Like, I don't know. This is kind of a spoiler. It's not, but it kind of is. I don't know. I don't know what's in the book. Like, I know the end now and I know the beginning. I don't know what happens in the middle. Yeah. So it's just kind of crazy. It's weird.
It's great. Next thing I had watched was World War II in color. It was put out on Netflix.
I've always been interested to watch this.
Yeah, and they redid all this stuff in color. And they also, I got mixed up. I accidentally watched the wrong one. They put out 2, I think. World War II in color, and there was like Best World War II events or something. I don't know what it was.
Do they talk at all about how they do the coloration?
No. But it's awesome. It's like, it looks legit, and you can tell it's really well done. But I just wanted to talk real quick on that. So it's great. They just kind of go through the series. like what happened in World War II. But one thing that stood out to me, and I feel like I kind of heard this before, but watching this was like, oh God. So there's a part where they're talking about Hitler's strategy to like, hey, we're going to invade over here or whatever. Well, they wanted to invade France and stuff. And they're like, well, how are you going to do that? Like, you can't just bust in or whatever else. It's going to be hard. And one general was like, frick it. Element of surprise, you'll never see it coming. Just go for it. Just do this. It was the dumbest plan ever. And everybody's like, don't do that. They gave those soldiers this thing called Pervitin. It's drug. Pervitin is meth.
Yeah.
It's meth. And they said
there was a lot of amphetamines pumped through their soldiers.
They said that and explained that, and it was like, it's meth. They didn't go to sleep for like 4 days. That's why they were able to do the surprise thing, because they just didn't stop to sleep. Yep. They just trekked out. So by the time those people and there was even people reporting it like, yep, the entire German army is heading this way. Everybody's like, there's no way. You know what I mean? Like how that's like saying the sky's orange. It's like, no, we don't have anything to worry about. Yeah, they're getting closer, and they wouldn't listen, and yeah, France got freaking...
They just marched right in.
Yeah, they marched right in. And what was interesting was they left, when they found out, they found last minute, to get out of there, it was very last minute, they evacuated the whole city, because, and I thought it was crazy, the architecture and, the history there, they said, we just are going to give that up so that we don't, shoot and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't want it destroyed.
We'll give it up, and what smart thinking? Because it's like, well, hopefully we'll get it back someday. You know what I mean? Because we do not want to destroy it. That's
if that was America, we'd burn it all. We don't care.
Yeah, we really would.
We'd blow our own buildings up.
Yeah.
You're getting some territory there.
Yeah.
Dude, hold on. On that note, did you guys see what happened with Grimes?
What did Grimes do? She's always doing something. She showed her baby.
No. Pitchfork reviewed her album and gave it a bad review on Twitter. So she quote tweeted it and was like,
not Grimes. Wasn't Grimes.
Or who was it?
Different artist. It was an indie artist. It was very funny.
I thought it was Grimes.
It wasn't Grimes. It was this other indie artist.
Hold on. We'll figure out who it was later. Put it on the screen.
It's on the screen right now.
But then,
the artist, and the tweet.
But yeah, so she said, I wish the building above the basement these people work in, the Pitchfork works in, would just collapse on them. And then people were like, they work in One World Trade Center.
and she related it.
She took it right back. Yeah. But I just thought that was a funny, to say that specific thing, and they work in the World Trade Center.
That is something she would have said about anything. You know what I mean? But how funny it is.
How ironic is that?
Yeah, really.
How stupid.
1% chance.
Well, she didn't know.
Yeah, 1% chance.
No, I know that, but why would you even say that?
Because I don't know.
No, you're
because
so
her reasoning is Pitchfork.
They just sit there
and attack. They are. I love Pitchfork. I'm subscribed.
They sip their tea and they hate on. They'll give something a 5.8 out of 10 and to me, music is the worst thing to try to put numbers to.
Oh yeah.
I get doing it we do it for games. I get doing it for movies because they're such team endeavors, and a lot of music you still need a team. You got to have the sound engineer and producer. Yeah. But music, more than any other medium besides maybe writing, is so subjective.
I will say
it is so subjective, and things can be really well represented. It's so individualistic that it's dumb to put a 1 through 10 on it.
But I was reading through for those that don't know, the Needle Drop. Do you know that?
Yeah. I like him.
Yeah.
He does a good job, though.
Music, so he put out his favorites of the decade. Well, people freaking data mined everything. They said, this. You
gave a soft 6 to this, but a hard 8 to that, and you put
what happened was there was some. It's this is the only 7 on the list, or this is only whatever. It was so incredibly consistent. This guy had been working on it for the whole decade.
Yeah,
because all this stuff adds up, and this is the only all the hundreds made it on the list, and everything everything added up, and people were like, "This was a pretty tight list." They had it data mined to the thing, and it's wow,
that's crazy.
You guys said this, and it just sparked this internal thing in my brain that I've been staring. I have a screenshot. I meant to send it in the group chat, but I think I was on the toilet and something happened. I just didn't do it.
Drop the phone in the toilet.
Yeah, crap happens. IGN changed their complete review scale.
Oh,
I saw that.
Did you guys hear that?
I didn't know about that.
They dropped the points.
Oh, wow.
Well, no.
Oh, they call it to us.
No
like
more.
the decimals.
The decimals.
Oh.
They're still doing 0 to 10.
They're like me
1
this
to
year.
10.
They're not doing any decimals.
Yeah. They're not doing any decimals.
Okay.
They dropped the decimal.
I never cared about their reviews anymore.
No, I laughed because I was like, they just now realized how stupid that was.
Yeah, it took them a while.
And I was like,
it took them this long just to get on the same page as everybody else to just do a number.
I want to read it because I have a screenshot of it.
What's so funny, here's the funny thing about this. Because I read this, I was like, this is, who cares? But I did read this, and they put like labels on all their categories, like what they mean.
Yeah.
And they went through all this effort, and I was like, well, maybe they'll do like something where like 5 is average now or whatever.
No.
7 is still average. Like they're gonna still do the same thing like every other person.
They said bye decimals. That means there'll be no more 7.1s or 8.9s.
Now the reason
not even a 6.5.
The reason they did that probably was because they have different categories they put numbers to, and don't they do some calculation?
Yeah.
That's how they get the decimals.
And they said the reason they wanted to switch, which I'm glad they're giving us the reason. They said we just want to give out a nice round number from 1 to 10 that clearly and decisively conveys what we're trying to say. After literally years of internal debate, we've come to a strong consensus that the system
up to us.
The system will improve the quality of our reviews and allow us to communicate to you, the viewers, better.
I think that the more that your review scale can have 2 dimensions to it, this goes to the needle drop guy. What I like about the way he does it is, and we don't really articulate things this way, is he has both the number, but also how strongly he feels about it.
Yeah.
So he'll give something like a soft 7.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I would give it a 7, but like I don't really feel that strongly about it.
Yeah.
Or he's giving like soft 9s.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is really good, but like, or he'll give it like a hard 5. Like, this is average, and I feel very strongly. I like that at both, he's committing to a number, but he's also conveying like how he feels about it.
Yeah.
I like when you can have like 2 dimensions to it, both how passionate you feel about it and where you would put it. I think that is really maybe, if you're going to keep grading things, a direction worth going in because it gives more nuance than just a number.
We've always done, when I would do reviews, there was complete booty. It was basically 5 stars.
Yeah.
Stars.
Well, you did classic, rad, you can play it. Booty, but because you can have fun, but it's and then complete booty.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
But here's the thing: so many things just land in 3, but that's where a lot of things are.
And that is to my point too, because I've heard you say that, and it's like I think games are just pretty good. You know what I mean? Like there was a point in time when there was probably a lot more 1s. Like how many E.T. on Atari. Like, I mean, there was so much crap shoveled on Atari.
And now that's all the crap on Steam that you won't ever touch.
Maybe there's
like that Half-Life, not Half Dead.
That was so
Jacob
much
got
fun.
me to buy the worst $2 game. It was so bad, I would have given it a 1.
Hey, look, it's the experience you have with individuals that make the game, man.
That game was a 1.
Yeah.
That game was a 1.
And it's like, to me, a complete booty, to give a game a 0.
I made you guys buy that game.
To give a game a 1, a complete booty or whatever, it literally has to be, this game is, to me, a complete booty is like, this game is being used to mine money out of you, and there's no value.
Yeah.
It's a monster. That's like, and there's no entertainment value. It's like,
you know what'd be a good hangout?
Yeah.
Zach plays the worst reviewed games on Steam.
Okay. That'd be a good one. Yeah, let me see. Shenmue, right up on
that could be its own show. Anyway, we keep going back to games.
All that to be said.
Weren't you talking about World War II in color?
Yeah.
I know.
How the heck did we get that?
Something about bombing.
Half Dead.
Bombing to music.
We've had some tangents. That might be the wildest tangent we have ever gone on.
To review scores in IGN. Okay.
What on earth just occurred?
All that to be said, Germany in the 1940s. You guys were not nice.
Okay, can I talk about something?
Yeah.
Killer Inside, the mind of Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, you were kind of talking about this in the group.
This came out a week ago. Okay, so
I want to talk about a clip I saw of this.
This documentary, it's a 3-parter. It's like an hour each part. It's about a football player named Aaron Hernandez that played for the Patriots from 2010 to 2012. He did not have a very long NFL career.
Did you like him when he was in?
I didn't. He was good, but I didn't really have many opinions on him.
I hate the Patriots.
I lived 20 minutes from where this guy lived when this all went down. Like, and watching the documentary was eerie because like those were some of the streets I would work on and drive down. Shit. So basically, this guy was a football player. They delve into his past and his childhood, but basically he was playing football for a very serious organization that wins a lot of championships. He's playing very high-level football.
He won a championship.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't?
They lost the one that he went to against the Giants. Eli Manning, retired in peace, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. But Aaron Hernandez, I remember the day I was at a B-Dubs, and I see on TV Aaron Hernandez being taken out of his house in handcuffs. And I was like, what's going on with that? Well, this show dives into the cops were onto him for like months and building a case of he had in multiple instances, and they start to kind of piece it together. He was like murdering people. Oh, gosh. He was not in a gang.
See, I only heard that I thought he had murdered one person.
No,
yeah, I saw that.
Well, and that's first they were investigating for one. He was not in a gang. He had like friends that were like selling weed and stuff, but like they weren't a gang. He did not come from a rough life necessarily. He just had a bad temper and was extremely sloppy. Like, he lived in an extremely rich neighborhood. He killed a guy who lived in a very poor neighborhood in Boston, who he was kind of friends with, but he met kind of... He drove to that guy's house, picked him up with two other guys, the guys he brought that guy to a parking lot a quarter of a mile from his house in his rich neighborhood, shot him, left him there in a ditch, and then went home to his own house. Oh my God. He went, took a guy out of a poor neighborhood. He was so stupid. He was one of the dumbest killers. They literally talk about, like, this was not an OJ situation where it was kind of covered, or like, this dude was stupid. And then they started to find out, like, he shot these two guys after they left a club in Boston. And the story literally is they accidentally spilled a drink on him and he was very upset at them. And then he found them in his car afterwards and shot them in cold blood. Oh my God. So like he was just like, and then they go back to like, there were a couple shootings when he lived in Florida, when he went to the University of Florida, that they never figured out like who shot these guys. Yeah. And they're thinking it was him. It's the same kind of stuff. So just everywhere this guy lived, he was just like killing some people. Like, he would just get mad. He would murder people, leave them in cold blood, and then just go to work the next day. He was basically like road rage, like in everyday life, and he was just murdering people. And
should I watch this documentary?
No, okay, so here's what I was going to say. The documentary is not very good. I'm just objectively, and other people have said the same thing. I've seen people talk about it online. Me and my wife watched it. It's an interesting story, and the guy himself, it's kind of weird to see all these different layers, but this documentary is, I would say, problematic. It throws a bunch of things at the wall, sees what sticks, and doesn't follow through on the threads. It doesn't, like, let me give you examples. Like, it seems like they're trying to peel back, like, did he do it because he was gay and he was repressing his sexuality? Yeah. They'll throw out, like, a couple guys who never even knew the guy. Like, they throw out a guy who's like, I played in the NFL and I was gay and I was pretty mad. And then they'll go, and I'm like, he didn't even, it was that level of analysis. Yeah. Well, or like, did he do it because of concussions? And they bring a guy and he's like, yeah, I played football and sometimes I couldn't even remember who I was. Yeah. And like and then they bring in this guy that he knew in high school that makes it all about himself. Like, me and Aaron, we had sex and nobody knew. And he was making it all about himself and it was weird. They gave a weird platform to some people.
I saw a great TikTok.
Oh gosh,
that clip of like, we messed around or whatever. And it cuts to this kid just making this video or editing himself, and he's like looking at his friend on the couch. He's like, "It's still about Aaron Hernandez."
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the problem with.
Like, wait, if he's gay, does that mean he's killing people? Like,
yeah. That, and the problem is the documentary sets that up as a theme, and they don't really like that. You just take it on the face. So it kind of presents this narrative that he was gay potentially, and that was why he was killing people. That's wrong on so many levels. Number one, you can be gay and that doesn't mean you kill people. And number two, and this is something I genuinely believe, you can mess around with another guy in high school and it doesn't mean you're gay. Like, they were saying he's for sure gay. He was, like, banging strippers, too. Yeah. Like, he could be bisexual. Yeah. Like, he could be a lot of things. I don't know. Like, that's not a reason you kill people. Also, you can have concussions. It doesn't mean you kill people. And, like, this documentary, it just threw all these threads out there. And they kind of suggested maybe, because in the end, it's, like, it is... What's upsetting is they introduced all this stuff in the first couple of episodes, and then by the third episode, if I were to sum up the problems with this documentary, number one, they throw a bunch of things at the wall to see what sticks, and they bring in like supporting. Normally, when you have a documentary and you're interviewing people, it's people that know something about the situation. Like 80% of the people they were interviewing, it was like watching a TMZ thing. Like, yeah, that was crazy when he did that. Maybe he was gay. Like, it was like, I mean, but the other thing is that this was so fragmented in the way they told the story. It started in high school, then it goes to when he's a pro, then it goes to Florida, then it goes when he gets arrested, then it goes back to when he was in Florida, then it goes back to when he was a kid. And like they make you think he's gay for 2 episodes, and then you get to the 3rd episode and he's very clearly also sleeping with women, 1, but 2, they tell a story that his brother shares that he was molested by a boy who was babysitting them when they were kids. Why didn't you freaking show that in the first episode? Like, start with his childhood. Do that. What they did with the OJ thing, where they really sit in that time in his life and establish that. And then go to his college career and the beginning of his pro career, and then tell the story of, like, they just jumped around so much. It felt like, I'm not a documentary filmmaker, but I feel like I could have taken all these parts and said, here's a better way you can tell this story in 3 parts. Yeah, I feel like for you care about the quality of the way things are made. I think you'd be pulling your hair out watching this. Like, what are we doing? We're jumping around.
I'll just go on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, but
Miss Jones.
Yeah, to me it was a very subpar documentary, which is kind of unfortunate because I think there's interesting things about all of this. But
I'll watch some guy on YouTube talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's enough. Who was this? Was it like a review or like that's a good way to go about it? Just watch someone.
I'll go on YouTube and say, "What happened to Aaron?"
Yeah.
What'd he do?
So that's my feelings on it. I mean, we just watched it. It took 3 hours, and it was interesting. But
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I watched Mandalorian, guys. I finally
Baby Yoda.
So I've seen it. You've seen it. You're not even going to watch it, are you?
You're not going to watch it?
No.
Why?
I'm not updating. I'm not watching anything Star Wars after this most recent thing. I'm done.
He's just done.
I'll kill younglings.
I'd like to talk to you about it, though. I enjoyed it.
I absolutely. It
was really good.
The music was great.
Dude.
The shots. Oh, my gosh. There were some shots. And
Beautiful.
Like, wow. Like,
yeah.
And then the fact, like, they did a great job. Oh, my God. When we talk about, like, Star Wars and CGI, something about it just never really ever clicks. I don't know why.
The effects in this were really good.
The effects were great because... they really wanted to go back to the whole puppetry kind of thing where, like, if we brought something in from the outside, we wanted to use puppets. They used puppets. But then they're like, we can't do it all the time. So they just sprinkled in CGI every now and then. And I was like, I never noticed.
Yeah.
I really never noticed the difference, which I was like, man, bravo to you. Like, that for once is actually really awesome. Each episode was a different, like, story.
Yep, it's very similar to The Witcher, where there's some, like, story and then some side stuff.
Yeah, but
it goes back and forth.
That's why I give kudos to the streaming, the way we do, like, movies now, and the way we do not movies, TVs now, is they'll throw everything out there at once, or they'll give you a bit by bit piece, but you don't really get that very often. They normally just throw everything at you at once. But the way this is set up is like you get a new story every single episode. You could pretty much pick up at any kind of story, but if you watch them all, that's when you get to enjoy it the most.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I'm like, that's awesome. I'm glad I could tell someone to start watching episode 5 and not be the end of the world because that is in itself its own little story.
Yeah. So for the most part, that's true. It's like episode 1, 3, 7, and 8 are like really the main story, and then the other ones just kind of flesh out.
The last 3 episodes was worth it all. Like,
that second to last episode was...
Oh my...
That episode was really good. That was when it went from like, this is pretty good. Like, I love the music and I like... But like
on my feet.
But it was really good.
Wow.
It was probably the best Star Wars has been in the new era.
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly. I was...
I'll just watch that one up.
One thing I do like is there's no cringy humor in the whole show. It's actually not very quippy or anything.
The dialogue's actually very minimal.
It's very little dialogue.
And it's very effective dialogue.
Yeah.
It does a great job of storytelling. And I think that's the biggest issue with TV shows is TV shows tend to be like a lot of like fluff, like side conversation. No, we're telling a story. Here's what we're looking to do. And it's a very effective tone and a very... when he first walked in and you saw the old stormtroopers and they were all dirty and I was like, ooh, this is not... Like, I like this.
I like the main bad guy of the season is just like a dude with like 4 stormtroopers in a room by himself.
Exactly.
Like, and literally it's like, that's the bad guy. He's just hanging out in this room and like, it's just like,
but then
it's cool.
But then you want to start diving into like his past and then why he acts the way. I really think you need to watch this.
I think in a vacuum he'd like it. I think he's overdone. I think it's something. Let him watch it years from now if he ever gets back to it and he'll enjoy it. Yeah. But
what they do with the story,
he's done. He's not.
I know it's just sad because he's missing out, but it's okay. I understand.
I'm not updating my song.
Hold on. I know how this works, guys. I got this. If I watch 3 episodes of Leftovers,
I'll watch this. If you gave Leftovers,
you should shake on it. You guys should shake on it.
You for a while.
I need another person to join me on the Leftovers train.
You watch 3 episodes of Leftovers. I will watch 3 episodes of Mandalorian.
Mandalorian is literally 30 minutes an episode.
Yeah,
that's how long Leftovers.
Stop.
That long.
Leftovers is an hour.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
So you owe me 6 episodes.
3 episodes of Leftovers is the entire Mandalorian.
Pretty much.
It is.
So how much are we watching? 3 or 3? Or you want me
They're not the same length.
Yeah, that's not fair.
So you want me to watch 6 episodes of Mandalorian for your 3 episodes?
I think, actually, if you watch the first 3 episodes of Mandalorian, it'll take you like an hour and a half, and I think at that point you'll know if you want to keep watching, because the 3rd episode's very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll do
that's
that.
a fair trade.
I'll do that.
Next podcast, Jacob's going to give Leftovers thoughts. I don't know if Jacob's going to like this, and I don't know if I'm going to like Mandalorian.
Yeah!
We're both going to come back mad. Is all
I think you'll like it. Dude, that music is just something. It's so good.
Yeah.
All right, we've struck on.
We can watch first episode tonight.
Next podcast.
What, Leftovers?
Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah, totally.
No, Leftovers. No, it's the first episode of Leftovers. Next time I watch Leftovers, I'll be watching episode 2. Never going back to the pilot.
I can't wait, because I'm going to watch it. I'm literally going to text you the whole time. Zach.
No.
Zach.
You need to not say anything to me.
Are you serious?
Come back on the podcast. We need.
I'm going to text you by episode 1.
You should. That way I know if I need to bring, like arguments against you or to support you.
Yeah, we'll see. Another thing I'm going to watch on the side.
I'm going to watch 1 episode of Leftovers a month this year. And by the end of this year, I'll be done with season 1.
It's like Baba is you, dude. You can't.
I'm gonna be completely honest, guys. Let me level with you.
Lose the freaking world.
And Zach, you're gonna hit me for it. Every time we mention the Leftovers, I seriously, it's like my ears shudder in. I just don't listen because I'm just like, I don't.
Leftovers taught me that if I like something, I'll just say it's good, and I won't even tell you guys to watch it.
But here's the thing: you've recommended so many things to me that are awesome.
I really have. Here's the thing: also, you watched the first episode of this, and you haven't given it.
If I told you to eat a sandwich and the first sandwich had poop in it, the first bite had poop, would you keep eating the sandwich?
Yeah, this is why I'm scared. He says episode 1's terrible. You're telling me it's the greatest thing you've ever seen.
I think the whole show as a whole is incredible. I love the first season. He didn't like the first episode.
How many episodes are there? How many
episodes
are on?
It is 30 and you're done.
30 episodes?
No, the season's 10. First season's 10.
First season's 10, or 8, I think. The last season's 8.
I'll tell you what. I will finish The Leftovers.
Okay. Oh God, what do I have to do? What do I have to do?
You watch.
I've got to watch freaking Bengals.
Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
That's on my list. I'm going to be watching that anyway.
And Friday Night Lights, season 1.
Oh yeah! Friday Night Lights.
I'm telling. No. Here's why you like it. Shut your little mouth. Friday Night Lights is written and directed by the guy who wrote and directed the entire first season of The Leftovers.
Oh my gosh, is this true?
Yeah. It's the same dude.
Okay.
It's the same dude. He's the guy that made the movie Lone Survivor. He's made a couple of different... But the show Friday Night Lights, I will say this. If I could give Leftovers episode 1 any compliment, is that...
This is the new Dead by Daylight Destiny.
If 5% felt like it had some of the DNA of Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights is like Lost, but in a little town where all people care about is football. It's not about... But listen, but here's why you gotta watch it.
Everyone cares about football.
But
there's nothing about Lost in it.
It is not. The show's not about football. It really isn't. It's about the head coach and his wife and their teenage daughter who's entering high school. And the freaking main quarterback gets paralyzed in the first episode, and then the backup quarterback sucks. And his dad's like out in the military fighting in the military, and nobody loves him.
And everyone
it's got the redhead guy from Breaking Bad, dude. It's good.
Wow, you've sold me.
So, are you gonna watch Friday Night Lights and you're gonna finish Leftovers?
I'll finish the first season of Leftovers.
My first achievement on Xbox.
If you start, here's the beautiful thing. Here's the beautiful thing about Friday Night Lights. You just watch season 1 and you're done. Honestly, like the other seasons are cool. Like season 1's perfect.
There's a lot on my checklist. I'm doing this first.
Okay. Before we go any farther, next podcast, you know what you're expecting.
Oh, hey, I did finish season 1, like the first season. There's 4 seasons of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That show is freaking phenomenal.
It's on my list.
Oh my god, this is the anime to end all animes.
No, I'm gonna watch the first 2 episodes and go. I didn't like the characters. You hyped it up, Travis.
It's the anime to end all animes. It is great.
You hyped it up.
I didn't watch anime. I watched Gordon Ramsay scream at people.
Oh, that's the show. Okay.
Kitchen Nightmares. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay.
Okay, Gordon Ramsay.
You guys ever watch Gordon Ramsay? You ever watch Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah, I've seen Kitchen Nightmares.
He's such a personality.
He's a mad dude.
He is the perfect TV personality. Like you could take a show and slap him on it, and it's great. It's like it's just.
Can we make this a cooking show section right now? Because Jess has been watching.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of baking shows on Netflix.
I was been watching something on Netflix.
There's like Zumbo's Just Alert Desserts and Sweet Kitchen and
it's Sweet Kitchen.
Sweet Kitchens, and they have an hour to make a cake, and then they get another. There's Sweet. I don't know. All these shows are the same to me, but
they really are.
When you watch them, it makes you want to eat cake and stuff.
Yeah. But all I do is
that's all I can really say.
Package and I can't take it out. I don't mess with that. My wife does everything because I don't know how to do anything.
I was blown away. I was watching this and they were making cake, and I was like, I can make cake just like that. She's like, what do you mean? No. I'm not a good baker. I don't know. I know nothing about baking.
You're actually good at.
Jess is probably better at baking than me, and I'm probably better at cooking than her.
He's a pretty good cook. I'm a pretty good cook.
But here's the thing about baking. I don't know anything, so I was like, "What are they using? Like packet?" Like she's like. No, like they're making the cake from scratch. I was like, that is mind blowing to me. Like, how are they doing it? To me, if it's not coming out of a box, I don't know how I'm making a cake.
Bounce back.
Yeah, I have 2 comments because now you guys have got me. My brain's going. But Kitchen Nightmares is really funny. Gordon Ramsay basically goes inside these failing restaurants.
Yep.
And then he sits down, he eats their failing food, talks about how crappy it is. And occasionally he'll find something that's like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And then he'll walk in there and scream at everybody and make them fix it. And it's big. My bad. He'll scream at everybody, give them money, and then fix it.
It's Nathan for you, but he's actually trying to help, and he's a lot angrier.
The funniest part was you can fix the outside, but the inside doesn't change. It doesn't get any better.
Yep.
And when you read the reviews about how Gordon goes in these restaurants, they all end up failing at the end.
They do, and there's actually one that is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Me and my old roommate when I lived in Boston, his name was Derek, we were watching an episode of this show. And this guy, he's like in New York, and he's like got this restaurant, and it's failing. And he's like, his marriage is kind of crumbling. Like he doesn't see his kids. And he literally tells Gordon, he's like, if this doesn't work out, like I'm going to wind up in the river. That's what he says on the show. And Gordon's like, you need to get help. His wife's like, we just need to get help. But then, like, they get things fixed and whatever. And so me and it was kind of inspiring at the end. Like, they get it fixed. So me and Derek were like, man, like, I wonder how that's doing. I looked it up. It failed, and he killed himself. He threw himself in the river.
Oh, my God.
He threw himself off a bridge into the river. And that was when I was like, not watching the show anymore. I can't, because not only do they always fail, I read that and I was like, it's like watching like people that are putting everything into their business.
Here's what happens.
Sorry to be a bummer here on the pod. We're talking about plagues and
here's what
Nazis and people jumping off bridges.
On in the show's history.
Yeah.
So Gordon and the producing crew came back and said, we have to now do a revisited episode once a season.
Yeah.
And they have to go back and revisit the stories that Gordon visited and see how they're doing. That way people don't feel like they're being misled. So Gordon will go back and revisit these stories like a year later, and they'll be like, oh, it's going really great. Or be like, Yeah, he revisited this one lady. She's like, "Oh, I sold the store. As soon as you fixed it, everything went great, and I sold it for money."
That's the smartest thing you could do.
Hey, she's like, "I sold it, and I live on my own. I divorced my husband. I have a bunch of money. Like that's great."
That's the smartest. Well, I don't know about the divorce, but that's the smartest thing you could do. So, honestly,
it's just funny. It's so funny how those TV personalities get the things. There's a show that I have to say Netflix can make. How do I describe this? It's like a needle in a haystack when Netflix makes something to me. Like, I don't feel like they always hit. Actually, I feel like they very rarely do they ever hit on anything.
I think they hit for me, for what I like.
Well, they make a lot of crap. They have a show called Nailed It. Have you guys ever seen this show?
No. Dude, Jess has been watching. Is this where the people that
yes!
don't...
It's so cringy funny.
It is so messed up. They get people up in here who don't, like me.
They know
who know nothing. And they'll say, all right...
Make it.
They'll lift up this thing and it'll be this crazy cake. And they're like, okay, you got 4 hours, make that thing.
Yeah.
And they have the same judges that they have on the ones where they got shows where they know what they're doing. And these people, and they think they're good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not just that, like...
How do they find these people?
They audition or something like that? I don't know.
I think they literally thought, like, whenever we do these shows, we have so many people, like, apply that suck. I think they just started telling people, yeah, you can come on. They think that they're good, and they're terrible, dude. And, dude, it is so cringy, like...
And the winner, I think the winner wins, like, a hat and some money.
Yeah, it's literally a complete waste.
But the worst part was, like, every time they unveil it, there's this really big lady, she's like, nailed it! Nailed it! And she just says it, and I'm like... That looks awful. It really is. Like, they'll have a cake and it has like 4 layers and it has to be like a bunch of... And they pull it out and this cake's like lopsided.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, because they don't show like the full shot of what they're making. They show them like making it, but you don't really see it until they lift the thing up and they put them side by side. And it's like, oh my God.
You know, I really think I have a shot of winning this. And you're like, you know, you kind of do, dude.
Yeah, that's fun.
You need to check an episode out. It's
good. Like,
it's cringy.
You know what I compare it to? It's like eating icing right off top of the cake. It's fun.
It's candy.
But one day, Jess watched it for like 3 hours.
Oh,
and
no.
I sat there for like an hour, and I was like, my brain is rotting. I need to do something else.
So it'll rot your teeth out.
Yeah.
If you need something mindless, real quick, knock an episode out, but do not come back after.
Nailed it.
Oh, that's it. That's TV. I'm TV'd out.
That's TV. So I didn't play much games, but I watched the heck out of movies. That's all I did over Christmas break and all this other stuff. So got a lot of movies to talk about.
Yeah, we should bounce it around because you got a lot. I got a few.
But I think right out the gate,
I can't see. We should talk about.
We have not talked about Star Wars Episode 9.
It's kind of timely too because we got to see it. We had our initial reaction. Then I think maybe we had later reaction, and then now. But I don't want to dive right into this. Have you seen that the script got leaked? Have you seen this?
I heard that they had a different version of the script or whatever.
So to catch everybody up, Colin Trevorrow, the guy that wrote and directed Jurassic World, he was originally doing episode 9.
Oh, he could have killed this thing.
He was doing episode 9, and he got fired like a year and a half before the movie came out.
Yeah.
And they brought in JJ. He wrote a script like that, and they made it. And we never knew like what was the differences. The script of what Colin Trevorrow made leaked this week and all the concept art. And it is a completely different movie.
Oh, wow.
So I want to talk about Star Wars Episode 9, but we talk a little bit about that. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay.
No, I'm interested.
But anyway, that's just a teaser. Episode 9, this movie was... You talk about eating the icing right off the top of the cake. That is this movie. To a T. It is just pure sugar. It literally is like Star Wars pixie sticks snorted, and it's really long, but it goes by really fast. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. You laugh. You have a good time. I will say it has not left an impact on me almost whatsoever.
Yeah, me neither.
The other day I was like, oh yeah, I saw episode 9. Like, it leaves you nothing to contemplate.
Going into this movie, I was like, I felt like I had senioritis. I was ready to graduate from Star Wars. That's why I haven't watched Mandalorian. I'm just Star Wars'd out. I'm ready to pick back the series 10 years from now, whatever. So walking out of the theater, I was like, I didn't hate that or whatever. And then you summed it up perfectly. Right out of the theater, you were like, that was Metal Gear Solid 4 of Star Wars. It was fan service after fan service. Remember this? We're going to bring this back, and Luke's going to do this.
I still agree with that thing I said initially. The only thing in which it's not like Metal Gear Solid 4 is as nuts as Metal Gear Solid 4 was, and it brought back all these things. At its very core, it still had a very personal thing with Snake growing old. Yeah. And like it was a very good conclusion to his character. Yeah. This movie was not really a great conclusion to Rey's character.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I never was like, man, I'm really feeling for Rey right now. So,
I never.
Other than that, it was Metal Gear Solid 4 for Star Wars.
The second movie, and I The Last Jedi is my favorite of the newer movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Watching this, and I was even thinking in Episode 8, I went, I'm still not connected with Rey or Finn or any of these characters. I don't care about any of them.
I maybe like Kylo the best.
Yeah, Kylo, I got, he was...
But the heroes...
But everybody else and Rey I could give a frick about. And then it came to the end of this movie and I went, oh, we have one more movie left. And then by the end of that I went, yeah, still nothing for me.
And it sucks because Daisy Ridley performed it great.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing wrong with her.
They just never... gave her like I felt like 8 was the closest it really got with the whole you're nobody kind of thing. I thought there was something that could have been built on off of that, which we'll talk later about the other movie, but that they didn't make. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, to me, this trilogy is going to be remembered by me as something I liked. It had some cool high points, had some really cool moments. I'll always think about that. The Holdo thing in 8 where she like light speeds through the big ship. That is like one of the coolest moments of Star Wars. I always think about the Snoke scene where they fight him. Force Awakens had some kind of fun stuff.
I watched the second time, and I really liked Force Awakens a lot more the second time through.
I don't know. I liked 9, but it didn't leave an impression on me long term, I don't think.
And I didn't hate 9. We're saying
I didn't hate it at all. I liked it.
I walked out there going like, that was fun. Like, I didn't walk out like disappointed and mad. There's people like mad, and it's like, were you here for the first two and the other stuff they put out right now? Like, I got to feel for what this is, and that's what I came in expecting, and it's like, it's got more of that.
So, I definitely see where you guys are coming from. I don't think it's like the bee's knees.
Yeah.
But when I look at all the Star Wars movies as a whole, it's one of the better ones for me. Like,
it's in the top half, I would say, out of all of them. Top half
mine, it's in the top 3. But the only reason why is I did like the conclusion. I do wish Rey, but I think here's the part where I think they're not done with it. I think Rey's going to get more time, like later on down the road. Like they're going to make more movies about this, and
we'll see. Those actors have kind of burned some bridges.
Yeah.
Have you seen all this?
Some of the interviews,
Some of these interviews, they're not only like, I don't want to, they're like, no way. Like the guy that plays Finn was like, never coming back. The guy that plays Poe was like, I'm done. Yeah. Like, I wanted to do things, they didn't want to do them, I'm out. Like, so I mean, they could, but like, those actors seem pretty done.
Now that Episode 9 comes out, we can look, in the past, when they started with Episode 7 and all this, these new series of movies, it was very apparent, either J.J. Abrams or, I forgot his name, the guy that did Episode 8.
Rian
Johnson should have done all 3 of those movies.
Oh, yeah, wholeheartedly.
Because Force Awakens has a feel to it, and Episode 9 has a feel to it.
Now, can I interject here and talk about... Okay, go ahead.
So, the reason I feel that way is because, J.J. Abrams has his own style, he brings whatever, and then Episode 8 is right in the middle, and it's like, don't hero worship, don't do whatever this, and it has a very different feel versus Force Awakens and Episode 9. Episode 9 kicks up, and it's like, it feels like it makes up for lost time, like where Episode 8, it's like, you can tell he didn't get to direct that, and it's like, here's all this stuff really quick. Okay, now let's get back to like this and whatever else. And it's like, I wish JJ would have either done all 3 or Rian Johnson.
Can I offer an alternative option that I think would have worked fine? The thing Colin Trevorrow wrote and was going to make was going to be good. Mm-hmm. The movie was called Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
That was the name of the movie. Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. You guys haven't seen any of this, have you? Mm-hmm. This is confirmed. He even said this is the script. They confirmed. This movie was fundamentally different than what Rise of Skywalker was in every way. And also, it is a sequel to Last Jedi. It does not undo anything. It doesn't. It just keeps going with it. So, it just at a high level, like the movie kind of opens up. It's like several years after Last Jedi. This movie involves Rey. She has a double lightsaber, and it's built out of her old staff. Mm-hmm. And like her at the beginning of the movie, her and Finn and Poe and Rose and the droids, they're like on a planet that's like junked like Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
That or where they build Star Destroyers, and they're trying to like basically destroy a thing. It's like a Star Wars mission or whatever, and it goes however. But then they all kind of split up. And basically, the movie is Finn and a couple other people go to Coruscant from the prequels, where the First Order has taken over Coruscant, and Hux is basically like the Chancellor, and he's kind of like the king of Coruscant. And the buildings are all like collapsed down, and it's like all these poor people living underneath the buildings. Yeah. And Finn, his kind of arc in the movie is he kind of leads a resistance. They have like guillotines and stuff, and they're like executing people. Mm-hmm. He leads like a thing on Coruscant. Ben Solo, Kylo Ren goes and he finds this creature that trained Palpatine. And he trains with him and gets his face all burned up, and he does not get redeemed in this movie at all. And then Rey, she's not a Palpatine, she's not any of that. She is just nobody. And she is being trained by Luke, who's a ghost, but Luke is also haunting Kylo Ren. Yeah. And her and Ben Solo go and have a fight, and the reveal is that Kylo Ren is the one that killed her parents. And she freaking kills him. Like, he's not redeemed. Like, she murders him. Like, dude, like, but reading the script and them going through it and showing the concept art, there was that one of the big things at the end of the movie is that they have to go down in the basement of the Jedi Temple and activate these old Republic beacons. So in the end of Last Jedi, nobody came and helped them, right? Mm-hmm. So the way this movie answers that is that the First Order had suppression technology that was suppressing all signals. So nobody could communicate across the galaxy, and that's why nobody came. So they answer why nobody came. And then in this movie, they have these old Republic beacons that can basically communicate through this other means. So like Poe and them go in the Jedi Temple and go underneath it and activate these beacons, and then there's a gigantic battle on Coruscant. So anyway, it was a totally different movie. The concept art looks really cool. It would have been really different because there's things I like that Ben Solo was redeemed. I liked his arc ultimately, but it's just so different. It's just weird to think that they almost made literally they were entering pre-production. They had built sets. They had done previs for stuff. They were getting ready to make this whole other movie. I think that's part of why the actors are done. It's like they were all ready to make this one, and then now we're doing something else.
This goes to my other thing, and we talked about it before. Leading up to episode 8, episode 7, 8, 9. Every movie you get on Reset Era or Reddit or whatever, anything from any doofus on the internet could put a comment and say, I hope that they do blah, 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 this. The dumbest person's comment was cooler than any of the things in all three movies. Meaning that none of the movies felt like, whoa, I can't believe they did that. Like, I felt like
Last Jedi had moments like that.
Last Jedi had cool moments.
I felt like it had a lot like that.
But nothing ever, especially episode 7 and 9, it's like, man, okay, we're bringing Palpatine back.
Felt safe.
It felt so like whatever, and it's like any dumb person's comment was like, whoa, that's crazy. That would be crazy if they did that. And it's like any simple person's like simple like ask didn't seem like it was like whatever outside of episode 8 for me or whatever. And there's even parts of 7 and 9 that aren't terrible, but like also again now that it's also closed out, one other opinion. People are saying that the prequel trilogy's better than this.
Yeah, no.
You gotta get out of the prequel trilogy, my friend.
No.
Go away.
That's terrible.
That thinking, I don't know.
There is prequel trilogy at the bottom, and I like some things about those movies. They're fun. Yes, they're very memeable.
Of course.
Then everything that's been released this decade, in the middle, whatever order you want to put it in, and then the originals. Yeah. Like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I would only want to kick the bottom of New Hope. I'm not a fan of New Hope at all, in any way, shape, or form.
This is Uncharted with bad graphics right here.
I know, I'm just saying, like...
I got you, bro.
A New Hope, the first 45 minutes is nothing but droids.
Bro,
in the desert.
There is part of me that still thinks that's my favorite out of all of... I love that movie. It's a masterclass in world building.
45 minutes of R2 and CP3.
It's part of what makes it brilliant.
Wait, I'll eat.
It makes you feel like you're on an alien planet. You don't know what's going on. You don't know where they're going.
Just droids. And then you have this old man come out, turn around, kills this thing, follows me, and then here comes Luke.
Z over here.
No, I'm not. I'm not. don't get me wrong. I'm not like.
But you are bringing something interesting. I wish you could do this. I wish you could take someone back in the 70s who knew nothing about these movies and just show them episode 4 and then just show them episode 9. Like, hey, this is the first one, and then there's a bunch of ones in the middle, and then this one's going to come out. And just, like, if those are the only 2 that they got, I bet they would just be like, what on earth happened with this series? Like,
hey, I'm trying to put together
Palpatine on a freaking pool thing that the lifeguard has.
I'm trying to put together how they would even put. He'd be like, "Where's that Darth Maul dude?" Like,
no. Show them A New Hope.
Oh, you said episode. Oh yeah, episode 4. Sorry, I'm thinking.
No, you're good. I mean, you could do that too. You could show them 1 and then 9.
I did laugh. Somebody on TikTok, I saw a video. It was like, "Here's what happened to Palpatine. He got kicked down a hole. He's down in the hole." And then that explodes down there, and then the entire planet thing explodes. It's like, what? How do you
know what has happened with Star Wars as a result of all this? For better or for worse, it used to just be there was a really good trilogy and a really bad trilogy.
Yeah.
As a result of all this additional stuff, it has just become like the craziest long-running anime. That it's just you just love it or you hate it or you like it, and it's just a bunch of madness.
That's how I feel post those first 3. I think those first 3 are masterpieces, and I think everything else, I'm with my dad watching.
Yeah.
It's cool to have father-son experience and our friend group and stuff, and I'm here for popcorn, and I had a good time. And I really liked The Last Jedi, and everything else.
Yeah,
I had fun out of 10s.
Yep.
That pretty much sums up my experience.
I get it.
I don't hate it. I'm having fun.
I guess I'm a different generation than you two, because I'm like, I hate the prequels, but I thought these 3...
what about I'm talking about the original trilogy.
Oh, no, the original trilogy. Yeah, I love the original trilogy.
The prequel trilogy is
I loathe Last Jedi. Loathe it. I hate it.
Yeah, I get that. So I get why people would loathe it.
Yeah, it's just not.
So there's our Star Wars thoughts. Yeah. It's been brewing for too long, but if you like Star Wars...
Man, let's talk something different, man. Like, come on, let's change up the atmosphere.
If you like Star Wars, give us a thumbs up on the video.
Let's talk about...
So about movies?
Yeah, what else you guys watch? I didn't watch any. I watched Wall-E. Here you go. I watched Wall-E, one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Move on.
Wall-E's good.
Wall-E is one of the best.
Yes.
Yeah. Wall-E freaking rules. Okay, I watched a ton. I'll talk a couple and then we'll...
Yeah, you do a couple and then I'll talk about one and...
The Lighthouse.
I want to see this so bad.
So, I don't know his freaking name. The same guy who did The Witch. And then I was not... What was it?
Is it Robert Eggers? I think it's Robert Eggers.
I'll be our fact checker.
Yeah, look on Wikipedia.
Fact check.
Not allowed. You have to use your book source.
I think it's Robert Eggers.
So I was pretty intrigued by this movie because in the trailers, and then I had read that they used really old film cameras, like 1920s, equipment to film this movie, and I was like, I'm totally in. You're right, awesome. I was like, I'm totally into this, and it looks cool.
It looks awesome.
It looks awesome. Black and white, whatever. I'm in. Watch the trailers. And then watch something else. Just watch the trailers. I think the trailers, if the movie that was in my mind watching those trailers, I was like, oh, this is cool. If I would have just not watched the movie, that would have been enough.
This is interesting to me because so many people really rave about this movie.
I wish I would have watched just the trailers and had fun with that. This movie, and me and my wife had a very similar thought because we watched it together or whatever. We both had the same opinion that it has great dialogue. There are some very, very funny lines as well that we are still quoting.
Yeah, that's what people are talking about. They're raving about the performances and the dialogue.
Great performance. William Dafoe, Robert Pattinson. Great back and forth between them. But this movie's... I am the king of ethereal and weird, and David Lynch is my favorite director. I love all that stuff. And this movie toys with that. There's this freaking weird spiritual stuff that's going on, weird stuff they show without giving it away if you still want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
But it never, whereas David Lynch's stuff, it kind of melts into the story and it feels like whatever. This just shows up like some college kid's first indie film, edgy stuff, and it's weird stuff, and it never...
Interesting.
It never does anything at all for me. So at the end of it, I came away just that was a movie and it was an experience, I guess, and whatever. It just never clicked with me, the whole movie. But again, very funny lines at parts and other stuff that we've been quoting, but didn't really tie together well, I thought, and I was kind of like done with it.
Yeah.
At a certain point, but
interesting.
But yeah, so that was Lighthouse. So coming out of Lighthouse, I was like,
can I say something? And I need to watch it. It sounds extremely different from The Witch, which is not that way at all. I'm
sure
they're extremely different movies. It sounds like, but the thing about that movie is that my understanding is that it really is kind of playing on kind of the concept of like Lovecraft in terms of kind of going mad and like sea monsters and like knowledge about things like. And I also heard that there's kind of like an undercurrent of like Greek mythology. Did you pick up on any of that, or was that
going mad stuff? But like, I got that from the trailers, but it didn't do anything interesting with it. It's just like by then you're just like,
it felt like
this is the movie.
Okay,
you get it. You
gotcha.
Know what I mean? Like it never. I wasn't in any part shocked at all by the stuff that I think they were like, look at this.
Yeah,
and it's like, yep, okay. But didn't do much for me, but to each their own. So coming out of that, I was like, oh god, like what else? What I need to refresh my palate here, cleanse my palate. I watched Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
This movie looks awesome.
And I didn't know if I was going to watch this, and Adam Sandler had been gone for a while, but I was hearing rumblings of like, this movie's incredible, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a chance. It stars Adam Sandler. He works as a jeweler. And everything goes wrong that can go wrong ever in this movie. And he's very, very funny in this. Adam Sandler is hilarious in this. It's a dramedy. Kind of.
Okay.
It's very, very, very funny.
I didn't hear that it was funny. I didn't hear that
very,
at all.
very
I heard it was
funny.
tense.
And tense. It's funny and tense. So that's like, that makes up my whole freaking life.
Well, you also thrive on chaos.
I thrive on chaos. This movie is chaos from beginning to end. It is like... my wife loves peace, so she was like looking away at certain parts. And I was like clapping.
See, now have you seen the other movies the Safdie brothers have made?
No.
Because they've been making movies. They've been making movies for like a decade, and people are like, "This is where they're finally hitting mainstream." But all their movies apparently are this extremely like you have no breathing room. It's just like constant being assaulted by like, imagery.
You're just watching cringe, like, oh god, oh no, like you're just it's like your palms are sweating at certain parts in this movie. There is a crazy synth soundtrack you wouldn't expect with a movie like this. It's like so out of left field.
Yeah.
But just seeing this guy get deeper into like gambling and all this other stuff, you're just like, oh god, please don't. Oh no, oh my gosh. But then you're laughing and you're uncomfortable and you're just, you can't watch the screen and then you're laughing. I gave it a 4.5 because this movie is so close to perfect. It is awesome.
Yeah.
So Uncut Gems was freaking great.
Can I hop in here with one that kind of gave me not quite that level, but it had me.
This as well,
so I watched Parasite and you watch it too. Parasite, it is a movie where it's best that you don't know a lot. So I won't say too much, but I'll say it's a South Korean movie. It's Bong Joon-ho or something is the director. He directed Snowpiercer.
Really? I didn't know it was the same director.
Same guy.
No wonder I liked this.
Same guy. And there are similarities in a weird way of like, it's like kind of like a little bit of themes about class and stuff. Yeah. So, but apparently, and so I'll spoil one of his other movies I haven't seen, but just everybody talks about it. But he's got a movie. So like his movies, this is a way I can not spoil Parasite, but I can kind of share with you his kind of thing. Apparently all of his movies have this thing where like you kind of think it's one thing and then he'll reveal something. So like there's a movie he makes called Mother. And it's about a mom who, like I said, I haven't seen it, but basically it's a mom and her son is like kind of special needs and like they don't make great money or whatever. And then they find people find a dead girl on their property. And so it kind of spins up like it's getting accused that her son did it. And she's like, he didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. So she sets out to kind of like disprove it, right? Well, the big twist in this movie, Mother, that he made is that about halfway through you find out, oh, her son did do it. Oh. And so then what she does is she starts trying to cover up for her son. Yeah. And so, like, that's where the movie really hits a stride. So Parasite's kind of a similar thing. In a way, it's not quite that level, I wouldn't say, but basically like it's his family, and then there's another family, and they start to get intertwined. And this movie, it made me feel similar to kind of how Breaking Bad made me feel, where things would just get really tense, and I don't want them to get caught or whatever's happening. But at the same time, it's like these are like not good people, but they're also likable. Yeah, but they're doing things that are like, that's so not right. But then the people that they're doing it on, it's like, okay, like, you know, I feel bad for them, but I also don't. They're kind of crappy, and like. And it comes to a head in a way that just floors you of like, oh my God, this just got...
The twist in this movie.
The twist, and then where the twist goes is just brutal. It is just unrelenting. And so it's a really good movie. It's getting a lot of buzz. It won the SAG Award for the Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Ensemble, which is basically that award show's version of Best Picture. I think it deserves it. I will say... Apples being apples, I probably would have voted for like Knives Out for that. But this is right there with Knives Out in terms of great cast. Everybody's doing their job excellently. They had great chemistry across the board. And it's just a fun thriller. It's got some comedy to it for sure. But it makes me want to watch more of his movies. I didn't know it was the Snowpiercer guy too. I found that out and I was like, okay, cool.
I like that director then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time.
So,
it was tense, and I could barely watch stuff and laughing. I was giggling like, "Oh gosh, I can't believe it! Oh no, like I can't see." Like, so good.
Yeah, really good. So I liked Parasite. It was fun.
This next movie, I'll just talk about for a second. So, coming out of Uncut, or actually, I'm going to talk about another movie, and then I'll talk about the Goofy movie, Marriage Story.
On the front end. This is a movie. Me and my wife were looking at the Oscar movies. I've seen almost all of them. I need like 3 more. And I scroll and I saw that one of them is Marriage Story, and I said, I'm not going to watch that. I don't want to see it. I just have no interest. I've seen Blue Valentine. I feel like I've had enough movies about...
Isn't Adam Driver in this?
Yes.
That's
so on the front end, I don't think I'm going to watch this movie. But go ahead.
So here's my review. Follow Travis. Travis is right. I did. It was on Netflix, and then my wife wanted to see it. I know we wanted to see the Oscar stuff, whatever, and I was like, let's check it out. Leading up to, I just want to get you in my headspace to watch this movie. I had some stuff at work that was very like weighing on my mind. I was pretty stressed. Coming to Marriage Story. This movie is divorce simulator. In the worst way. Think of farm simulator, just you're driving a tractor or bus simulator. This is divorce, and this is going through the process. There is literally a scene where Scarlett Johansson is talking for 5 minutes without a cut about like, well, he was really nice, and then this started happening, and then our relationship started going away. She's talking to her therapist. But the camera just stays there for 5 minutes. I don't know what they were trying to do, but I was like miserable. This movie is just straight up miserable. There's moments where it's like, oh, that's cute. They still like love each other while they're trying to go through this divorce, and they have a kid together, and then Adam Driver really loves the kid. It's just sad. It's miserable.
It's divorce.
So I had already had the stuff going into it, and I was just like, I'm having a really bad time. And then what was funny was I was talking to somebody. I was like, yeah, we're not done with it or whatever. And they're like, or they said, I said, we're watching Marriage Story, and they said, oh yeah, I heard about the ending. And I was like, well, good, I'm headed to good stuff, right? Or whatever. And they just started laughing, and it just ends on like, it's not like a super sad note. Don't watch Marriage Story. Don't watch it.
See, I had a friend watching, he said he loved it.
If you love, you know who this movie's for? Maybe people that have recently had a divorce and want to like, there's probably some stuff they could take.
I mean, I'm sure that it's well made. Like, I'm sure that like the performances. I've seen that clip that everybody shows of like them arguing. Like, I keep seeing that GIF or that clip of them arguing or whatever.
The performance was great.
Like, I'm sure it's good, but like
But I don't care. Like, I just don't want to. Give me Uncut Gems and give me whatever else. Like,
it's not what you're looking for out of a movie. To me, one of the movies I really liked that I saw last decade was Blue Valentine, and that was basically the same thing. It was like it would jump back and forth in time.
If you need sad porn, watch Marriage Story.
Yeah, but like it's one of those movies. Like I feel like I just don't need to see it. I don't know. It's this weird thing.
Maybe I'm missing something. All the Marriage Story fans.
One thing I will say is that I watched a video with a guy who had been divorced, and he was talking about it on a podcast, and he said what he did resonate with him is that so many people, when they go to get divorced, a lot of people go about it and try to say, hey, let's not do the lawyer thing, whatever. Yeah. Let's try and do this amicably. And he said what the movie does is it step by step shows you why that never happens.
Yeah, divorce.
Because, like you said, but I think that maybe that is the message, is like, you can go about trying to be good about it, but the lawyers do get involved because you have to have lawyers to do the thing.
Yeah.
And once they get their hooks in you, they're like, well, he's trying to screw you here. And it's like, no, he's not. But like, and I haven't seen the movie, but my understanding is that this guy said that his experience with that, it was very much in a way that he hasn't seen in a movie before, kind of laid out. So I do think you're right. Like, that's why people...
Divorce has never been simulated as well in this movie. If you're looking for that, it was good at that. So I had to cleanse my...
Is somebody happily married? I just don't feel like watching that movie.
I had to cleanse my palate again with a movie called Clifford. We saw a clip of this.
Is this Clifford the Big Red Dog?
No. It's a 1994 film with Martin Short in it.
Huh.
And me and my wife, I showed my wife this clip I found online. It was a Reset Era thread that actually made me find this movie. So shout out Reset Era.
Clifford.
Someone said, does anyone like the movie Clifford? 1994. And I was like, what the frick is that? And I clicked on it, and there's a clip, and I was like in tears laughing. It's Martin Short. The concept of the film is so stupid. It was killing me and my wife. Martin Short plays a 10-year-old boy. And he's like 39 in this movie. And he's playing a 10-year-old boy. It's a comedy or whatever. But it's him playing a little boy. So he's short in real life. So he's just acting like this kid. So the clip
that's so creepy.
The clip was his uncle at the time or whatever. It's so short. It's like a minute. And it's him going, all right, are you going to listen to me? Because he's just disobedient. He's just a disobedient little bratty kid. Martin Short is. And he goes, all right, you're going to listen to me. Whatever. I just need you to look at me for 10 seconds. Just listen to me, whatever. We're going to do this. Just be normal for a second. And Martin Short, the whole movie, has this gag with his face where he just looks at you weird. Like this, and just makes the funniest face. And that is what he keeps doing. He's like, just look at me weird. And the camera like cuts over at him, and he's going... like this, and it's like, be normal, be a human boy. So me and my wife kept quoting that about me, like, because I would just do that to my parents when I was a kid.
Was it even worth watching?
It was cracking us up, and then it was like, oh, we gotta watch this movie. So me and my wife sat and watched this movie. We were cracking up.
It's funny
because just the concept of him playing a 10-year-old boy.
It's so ridiculous. How old was he when that was made?
Like late 30s, like mid-30s, late 30s. So there are
I can't even picture
there's so many quotable lines in this. There was so many scenes where it's like, it was also funny. I told my wife, and I was like, we have to show my parents this because I was a bit of a brat or obnoxious as a kid. I'm just gonna come out and say it. There are parts of this movie where they're getting annoyed with Martin Short's character. They're going, "Ooh, why are you doing this?" And I was like, my parents did that to me when I was a kid.
It was you. It was a child Zack Simulator.
It is the Zack Simulator. So if you want to see the Zack Simulator, watch Clifford. So that just cleansed my palate. It's so stupid of a movie, but yeah.
All right, I'm gonna throw out a movie. Okay. I saw it in theaters with my wife last week, I think.
We will be watching it soon.
Good. 1917.
Yep.
1917. When I first saw that this was coming out, I didn't know anything about it, and I just saw like a quick clip, and I was like, looks fine, kind of looks like Oscar bait. That was kind of my thought on it. It's a World War I movie, which I do get annoyed when people say, oh, it's World War II. No, it's not. And World War I is different. It's very different. It's all trenches, and they're shooting gas and stuff. But it's a World War I movie. If I were to describe what makes this movie, what it is basically Death Stranding in the way that you kind of like walk from place to place in Death Stranding, and then like you'll come over a certain mountain and it'll play music that's just perfect for the moment. So it's got like that, right? It's got, like a Saving Private Ryan type story where it's about a guy and then his friend who was in the army together, and they have to go do something for this guy's brother. Like they're basically given a mission, like you guys have to go do this, and they're just in the middle of France, and it's like you guys got to go do this. So it's got like that, and then the third thing is it is all presented as one shot. So it's almost like God of War, the game. Like you remember how the camera would it never cuts, like so it's got this amazing cinematography. So I was just astounded. Like when I was watching this movie, I was blown away. Obviously, the movie isn't literally one shot because that would be impossible to do from a filmmaking perspective. But
I heard that
it's not a gimmick.
The way they do it is not a gimmick. Yeah, I heard. I heard they're not trying to like.
They're not trying to trick you.
Yeah.
You just kind of get into it, and you're not looking for. I was wondering that. I was like, am I going to feel like I need to be? The movie's just riveting. It's just really well made, in the way that like it's almost like a video game. It feels like you start at this place. And then, like, it's just kind of following the characters, and then they get their mission, and then it follows them out towards this place, and then they go into the first area, and it's just, like, so atmospheric, and then they come out of it, and then they go down in this thing, and then they come out, and then they come across this house, and they're kind of, like, walking through. It almost felt like PUBG, where you would, like, raid the house, and you go up and then downstairs, and you go out in the barn, and then something happens, and you literally feel like you're getting to spend a day in the life with these guys that are in France in the middle of World War I, and it is just so well made. Like I couldn't believe like how much work and heart had to go into like, we want to bring the camera up with this guy as he's going through the building, right? But then we want the light to be perfect, and then we want this other guy who's outside the building to walk into frame, right, as this guy comes up the steps, and it's just like, you're gonna have moments where you're like, I can't believe they pulled that off. And then like there's some nighttime scenes with like lights and flares and fire, and it's just like, this is immaculate. It's like, this is like cinematography porn. So it's really good. I think you'll have it. And what's great is one of the things I appreciated so much is this movie doesn't try to waste time with like a B plot. It knows that it's straightforward in its story. So like it is 2 hours flat. They're not wasting your time. They're not stringing this thing out or making it more than it needs to be. They're just...
Yeah, I heard it's like, I don't know how long you can keep this up.
Yeah, no, they just take you through it, and then at the end, you're just like, wow, that was cool. Yeah. So, is it Best Picture? I don't know. Like, I would probably put it for me, like, they're very different, but like I like this a lot. I liked Parasite a lot. I'd have to think back on some of the other stuff last year.
Me and my wife are going to see it on a date night.
Yeah,
so I think
go see it.
Have a good time.
Go see it. I would recommend it to pretty much just about anybody. It's something.
I'll try to lightning round these. Well, the first one I won't, but the second one I will. Come and See, a 1987 film. You might have.
I saw you review this on Letterboxd, so I'm excited to hear you.
Yeah, this movie is about when the Germans were invading like this part of Russia. I forgot the freaking name, Yugoslavia or something. I don't know, but it's about when they were invading this little tiny village, these little villages and stuff in that area in Russia. So it's a Russian film, and I had heard so much about this movie. I think people even on our stream had talked about this movie before. And like, you should watch it or whatever.
I don't know if I've heard
I finally sat down and was like, I'm going to check out this film. It's been on my watch list on Letterboxd. Oh, what a freaking experience. So you follow this kid who's in this village, and they like, hey, they get kind of like these rebels in this village. Like, we need to fight against these Germans. So he kind of goes on this little adventure, kind of like with these little gang of like the rebels or whatever, and gets swooped up in this war, and gets swooped up with the German soldiers and like what war is and stuff, and like the villages get overtaken, and it's very bloody and very gory, very just like, this is war, like kind of showing that world, but it's war with a very atmospheric surrealism that I've never seen in a war film.
Not even like Apocalypse Now?
Even more heightened than that. Like, it is otherworldly. There are scenes where they come back to some of the villagers and something bad has happened. I don't want to spoil stuff, but weird, like, you just hear the moaning of the people around it, and he like grabs blood and he's putting in its ear because he doesn't want to hear the moaning from like the the people around. It's almost like symbolic. Like,
oh wow!
Kind of weird, kind of artistic, kind of symbolic, like kind of things that's happening in the war, even. And this movie has one of my favorite endings, I think, of all time. One of my favorites of all time. I just was having goosebumps. I was like,
I need to watch this. This sounds amazing.
How do you ended this? There's no other way you could have ended this film. Like when you watch it, you're like, how amazing was this ending? So all that to be said, I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
It was a freaking classic.
I need to watch this.
Unbelievable film. Like from a standpoint of like the war and dealing with the tragedy of war and kind of bleeding kind of like artistic vision.
Wow.
Do it well as well. So absolutely was a good. Whoever recommended that on the stream, good job. Now watch The Dark Crystal, which is a Jim Henson film.
Animated, right?
No, it's puppets.
Oh.
All puppetry and stuff. The amazing, just incredible puppet work. Like some of these puppets, you're like, this was incredible. Like, it looks better than CG stuff now because like they had to make these things move.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a Letterboxd list of movies that look good and are inch deep. It's gonna include Blade Runner, Dark Crystal, Dune. It's gonna include all of these like segmented films, like look amazing. They have incredible vision.
Yeah.
And it's like
nothing
happening. This thing
happening.
with a character, with this little puppet character, you don't know anything about him, and there's like the prophecy. He has to go get the crystal, and it just goes into it. And it's like I don't care about this little guy. The main character puppet looks the worst. All the other ones look amazing. He looks like this real still face, like freaking puppet you can get from the dollar store, and everything else looks amazing. So the Dark Crystal, I put into that category of like cool world, amazing stuff, like world stuff, and where they focus their energy on is like aesthetics, and then they just kind of forget.
Man.
But all that to be said, come and see amazing Uncut Gems.
I want to see Come and See, and I want to see Uncut Gems. Of the ones you mentioned, I'm going to see The Lighthouse eventually, but
yeah,
I want to see those two especially.
Only one I'd say steer clear of, unless you want to, is Marriage Story.
So you'd recommend Lighthouse over Marriage Story?
Yep. At least Lighthouse, you will come out like hating yourself and just hating everything.
Man.
You just want to fight.
Yep, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
No way.
If you like fighting with your significant other, watch Marriage Story. If you really enjoy that, and that's like...
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so thank you. That concludes the
1st
podcast.
of January.
The first of the 2020s.
Yeah.
You know what I realized when I was thinking about stuff the other day? We have been doing the podcast since January of 2017. So 3 years.
Wow.
How?
All of 17, all of 18, all of 19. That's crazy.
That sounds nuts. I was like, we just started the podcast.
That's nuts.
So we are here again.
Oh,
we might be trying something new with this podcast. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be trying.
Yeah, give us feedback if you know. We're all about it.
It'd be really funny if I don't end up doing it, but I think I will.
Yeah.
It should work out. So
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And then check out our Hangouts. Go to DweeBoYT on Twitter. I'm going to put out when Hangouts are. Got to get the Half-Life one going. We got to get some other. What was the other one we said we were going to do?
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah.
I want to.
You might be seeing some VR stuff. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about.
There's a lot of stuff.
2020 New Year's to Hangouts.
New Year, new us, and then some more stuff from Dweebs. You haven't seen it all. You're like, what? I got to get my schedule. There's behind the scenes stuff.
Hey, I still have to get you some stuff.
Okay. Dweebs stuff. There's some behind the scenes, some blooper stuff. There's some stuff I'm going to show you guys. If you have some more stuff, I'll put it in. Yeah. But what I have so far is laugh out loud funny. You do not want to freaking miss the bloopers.
When we go back,
the scenes are so fucking.
The day when we were in my house, I filmed a bunch of stuff with my phone.
Yeah. We'll have maybe even funnier.
Going back and watching Dweebs.
If you don't put it in, I'll make my own video.
When did we film that?
2018, and then I got it edited.
Holy crap! We filmed that stuff 2 years ago this summer.
That's why I feel like whenever I watch it.
Oh my gosh!
Whenever I watch it, I look at it and I at least look at myself and I'm like, holy crap! So much has changed.
Yeah. Everybody's changed.
How weird would it be to be an actor where you're constantly in a state of the things releasing or things you made a year or two ago, and so like things you feel like you made, like it would just be weird.
So more clips of that come out. I'm putting out the music video stuff separately and some of the skits, but you'll see some of that very soon. But thank you for joining us.
Take care.
Peace out.
Peace out.